Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. So Tottenham Hotspur have won 3 on the bounce in the league for the first time in, if I'm not wrong, for the first time in about 16 months, and very, very much needed to stop the rot and to stop Spurs sliding down the table. We are now up to the lofty heights of 12th. Yes, listen, it's many different ways of looking at this. Yes, 3 in a row. I think we've had some very nice teams at the right time, and now we're going to see what we're made of with the next 3 games coming up. And let me just double check that I've got this right. I'm pretty sure I have. The next 3 games coming up: Man City, Bournemouth, Fulham, and then add Chelsea into that. The next 4 league games for me will show how good are we. How good are we? Yes, we had to win those games. But if you said to me, Brentford, Man United, and Ipswich, I would want a minimum of 7. To get 9 has been very good, really good to get the 9 points. But now we're about to find out. We're about to play 4 teams. Let's just check this is right. We're about to play the team that are in 4th, the team that are in 5th, the team that are in 6th, and the team that are in 9th. Let's see how many points we get from those 4 games. Then I will start looking at this a bit more favourably. Listen, we done what we needed to do against 2 very poor teams, Man United and Ipswich. We got the 6 points. We thumped Ipswich. It was a very comfortable game. Let's be brutally honest, a very, very comfortable game. Now we move on to Manchester City on Wednesday night. And it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because there's that theory that, well, hang on, we've got their number. We've got their number, Manchester City. And then you've got the theory of, well, hang on, if we keep letting teams have between 15 and 20 shots at our goal every game, teams like Man City will beat us. I genuinely don't know where we're going to be at in that game. I don't know what sort of team Man City are going to put out. Are they coming into that game off the back of beating Liverpool today or off the back of losing to Liverpool? Are their tails going to be up? What I do know is that we will need to play better than we did in the last 2 games. Yes, we beat Man U. Yes, we beat Ipswich. But for me, 2 very mediocre performances that we won't get away with against the better sides. Then, you welcome Bournemouth, good team, beatable, but good team, Bournemouth coming to the lane, then away to Fulham and away to Chelsea. So a couple of very difficult games there. We've still got games at the likes of Wolves away, Liverpool away, West Ham away, Villa away. Some tough games coming up. But what the overriding feeling for me at the moment as a Spurs fan is that we did stop the rot as we were sliding into that 16th territory. So it was very much needed. Now, listen, you know me, guys and girls, I don't go overboard. I don't start losing my mind. You can imagine the comments I've had overnight. Gutted and just proved you wrong. I don't know why. We've beaten Man U and Ipswich, the 2 worst teams, 2 of the bottom 3 in the last 20 games of the form table. So I would expect to be beating those teams. Yes, you've got to beat them. But of course, our fan base just goes very silly. All the fans that disappeared when Liverpool knocked us out, when Villa knocked us out, have now suddenly reappeared with, oh, Ange's amazing. Look what's happening. I'm going to put it to you. We didn't beat Ipswich because we had some players back yesterday. We beat Ipswich because they're bloody awful. Let's be brutally honest about this. And let's have a look. Am I being over dramatic about this? Well, let's have a look at the Premier League table, shall we? So we can see there immediately, if I remove myself, that's better. Nope, that's better. Tottenham, we now fit onto the top half of the screen, everybody. Let's have a little bit of a whoop whoop. We fit onto the top half of the screen. So Liverpool and Arsenal, Forest and City are the top 4. City can consolidate that with a win today against Liverpool. Liverpool will go 8 points clear if they win. Nottingham Forest play away at Newcastle. Nottingham Forest can close the gap on Arsenal today, or they could be overtaken by Manchester City and drop into 4th. Then you've got Newcastle United as well. If Newcastle United beat Nottingham Forest, Newcastle United will go into 5th place on 44 points and 3 points off of 3rd. So there's a lot going on today in today's game. But if we look towards the bottom half, You can see there, Spurs, what we've done, we've just closed that gap now on the top 10. I can't believe I'm even talking like this, but we're now only 6 points off the top half of the table. And we've moved away from the likes of Wolverhampton Wanderers. Now, it's very bunched up in there. Tottenham down to West Ham. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clubs separated by 3 points. I've got a feeling that that's going to shift. That's going to change over the next 4 or 5 games massively. West Ham with an important win to keep themselves in with that little pack. Wolverhampton Wanderers with a win to take them 5 points clear of the relegation zone. By the way, I'm going to say this. I think this is the worst bottom 3 I've ever seen in the Premier League, ever. I'm just going to put that out there right now. Let me know what you think. And then look, when we've beaten Ipswich Town, 3 wins all season, haven't won for 3 months in the Premier League. So I would fully expect to win that. But to grab the 4 goals, really good confidence. And we're going to get into the game in a minute. So that's how we look at the league table. Man City next is going to be very, very interesting. If we look at Man City, they've only lost 1 of their last 6. But they've got Liverpool today. Who knows what will happen? We do tend to do well against them, but hey, Wednesday's another day. So we'll find out how good we actually are. Look, we've closed the gap on those above us. We had some good results yesterday. That Brentford and Villa won, which wasn't great for us. But Fulham lost, which was very good for us. Everton and Man U drew, which was good for us. Crystal Palace managed to win. So they're level on points with Tottenham, but below us on goal difference. So it's all getting very packed in that middle of the league, isn't it? If you look at kind of Brentford in 11th down to West Ham in 16th. So if you look at those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clubs separated by 7 points, Brentford will probably be pissed off that I've put them in that little grouping with us. But it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens over the next few weeks. As I said, we've got the international break coming up after the Man City game. We need to go into that, in a bang, with a bang. If we actually have a look at this week's games to see how it will affect Tottenham, bear with me, Premier League fixtures. So this week, you've got Brighton and Bournemouth playing each other on Tuesday, which will be interesting. Crystal Palace play Villa. So Crystal Palace, who are level on points with us, and Villa, who are 9 points above us. So we could possibly close that gap to 6, or Villa could extend that gap to 12 between the 2 teams. So it's very, very, very much on a knife edge, whether it's 6 points or 12 points. Chelsea play Southampton. I would thoroughly expect Southampton to win that game. Brentford versus Everton should be interesting. If Brentford beat the Toffees again, they'll extend that lead above us if we can't beat Man City. So that's a very interesting game to look out for. Who else have we got this week? Nottingham Forest Arsenal. It doesn't really affect us, does it? That at the moment is 3rd versus 2nd. Man United v Ipswich. I would expect Man United to win that game at Old Trafford. So again, Man United are currently 3 points below us, could go level on points with us depending on what we do against Man City. Liverpool Newcastle at midweek as well. Doesn't really affect us. And then West Ham Leicester. I would expect West Ham to beat Leicester at the Olympic Stadium. So if they do, again, West Ham can go level on points with Tottenham. So listen, it's all very tight in there. And 1 win can see you really close the gap. 1 defeat, you're right back down there. So look, it was very, very important that we closed that gap. Listen, we'll get back to some of that in a minute. By the way, just before we carry on, let me just let you know about today. I will be doing, I'm only going to do an hour or so this morning. Then what we have got later on, is I've got Man City versus Liverpool as a watch along on Big Up. Now, I know a lot of you don't come over to Big Up yet, but what if you do today, if you come over to Big Up today and become a community member, which is free, and watch the show, Big Up over this weekend, they're going to look at every single person that watched a live show on Big Up. And there's only 30 creators. And 1 lucky person is going to win $500. So 1 lucky person is going to win $500. So all you've got to do is get over there, join the community, Yeah, it's just like literally becoming a subscriber. It's free, and then you could have the chance of winning $500 by the end of Monday night. Now, obviously, it's not guaranteed. It's a bit of a long shot, but $500 is nice. Big Up is brilliant, by the way, as well. And just so you know, whichever creator, this is where the kind of investment from me comes. Whichever creator gets a viewer who wins $500, that creator wins $500 for themselves as well. So listen, it's a long shot. There's 30 channels on Big Up, but hey, all you've got to do is get over there, join the community. So what I'm going to do, guys, at about 4:10, I'm going to go live on here for 5 minutes, give everyone the link to come over and join me on my Big Up channel. And then all you've got to do is press that community button. And listen, I don't know about you guys, but look, that helps me out. It gives you the chance to win $500. There is the link, by the way, for anyone that wants to see my Big Up channel. And we have a good laugh over there. For anyone that's been over there, we always have a good laugh. So yeah, it's about four. Let's have a look. 1 second. Sorry. $500 in pounds sterling. So it's £400 as it stands, around £400 that you could win for doing nothing. Surely it's worth it. So I'll go live here. What time have I got that show set for? Bear with me. Yeah, I've got that show set for 4:15 today. I'll go live here at about 4:10. And then everyone can come over with me. What do you say? It is what it is. It's up to you guys if you want to join that, but it does really help me. And I know some people don't want to see me do well, but I know a lot of you do want to see me do well. So, look, the option is there. Oh God, Matt's here. No, Matt. As I've said at the beginning of the show, I'll believe it when we're actually beating some better teams. As I said, City, Bournemouth, Fulham, Chelsea coming up. I want to see where are we after those 4 games. Not beating Ipswich, who are bloody terrible, and Man United, who are bloody terrible. When we get some better wins, so far we've won 3 games in a row against teams in the bottom half, teams we should be beating. Let's see where we are after 4 games. My overriding factor for everyone is this: we are 12th in the Premier League. People could talk to me about momentum, about wins. We are 12th in the Premier League. That's embarrassing. No matter how people want to spin it, Tottenham Hotspur are 12th in the Premier League. Even if we win on Wednesday night, we can't go into the top half of the Premier League. That is embarrassing. I don't know if people are new fans, but that is embarrassing. So look, let's talk about the game now. Before we do, as I said, it's just a little bit of an incentive for people to get over to Big Up, and the owners are, trying to get people over there, trying to get them to understand their platform better. So let's see. Listen, it's good. 3 wins in a row is good. I would expect us to beat those teams. Let's now kick on. The Ipswich and Man United isn't how I'm judging this football team. Yeah? Right. I'm going to say this once and for all because people don't listen. Right? No, 4 wins in 4 doesn't convert me to Anjin. Right? It doesn't convert me to Anjin. It's been really poor for nearly 2 years under Ange. One 4 win in a row sequence doesn't make me. How knee-jerk would I have to be as a fan to go, oh my gosh, well, he's beaten Brentford, Ipswich, and Man United. Oh, we're amazing. No, we're now winning games we needed to win. We needed to win this to stop that horrible slide. We needed to win that. Everyone is beating Ipswich. Nearly everyone is beating Man United. We had to win those games. Now, the question is, can we kick on? Now is the question. Can we kick on? City, Bournemouth, Fulham, Chelsea. 4 teams in the top 10. Win those 4, I'll sit back and go, fair play, Ange. Win those 4, fair play. But that will then be 7 on the row, right? Yeah, it will. I mean, Matt, you can ask these questions all day long. I need to see over months and months and months that this manager is good. At the moment, I saw yesterday in the first 10 minutes how badly set up we were, how easily Ipswich got through us. I just don't rate his management. I think we're a very boring team to watch. Yes, good wins. And I think people need to separate this. think people can't seem to separate this, can they? There's a difference between, yeah, happy we won a game, and do I like what I'm seeing from the manager? No. It's this, Ethan. This is what I mean, Ethan. These people, the Dales, the Matts. Sorry, the aim of football is winning. And the manager, that they assured me, both Dale and Matt assured me we were going to win the League Cup or FA Cup this season. We got knocked out. Yeah, we got knocked out embarrassingly by those two clubs. Embarrassingly. And now all of a sudden it's, Savva, have you changed your mind? What? Because we beat Man United and Ipswich? No. Yeah. And like my Ellie says, here she is. Big up, Ellie. Said, Matt, you're easily pleased. We've won 3 matches, but we need consistency. This, show me between now and the end of the season, consistency. Now, I've said this all along. Consistency for me doesn't mean you win every game. Lovely, but no. Consistency for me is, if you're going to say, our last 15 games of the season, we won 10, drew 4, lost 1. Won 10, drew 3, lost 2. Cool. I'm good with it. But it can't be you beat 2 really crap teams and suddenly we're back. 3 weeks ago, we lost to Leicester City. 3 weeks ago, we lost to Leicester City. Yeah? 3 weeks ago, we lost to Leicester City. So this is a team that have won 1 Premier League game in 11 against us. So listen, time will tell. Soul Sniper Gaming has said, Savva, if, for instance, say Spurs beat City, Bournemouth and Fulham and qualify for quarterfinals in Europa before the international break, listen, if he does that, great, then things have turned. If he does that, then he's showing me that he can mix it and change it up. I don't think that's going to happen. We'll see. We'll see. At the end of the day, I think too many people care about me changing my opinion on the manager. I don't know if it's just me, but my eyes do work with 12th in the Premier League. I'm never, ever going to be happy with being 12th in the Premier League. Those 3 wins were needed more than anything to stop the rot. That shouldn't be, oh my God, look at us again. They were needed. We had to stop the rot. That's what we had to see. And we're talking about gradually getting our players back. Who's actually missing? Van der Ven, Romero, and Solanke. We're missing 3 first-team players, and we're playing like we are. It's okay. Do you know what? This is what I mean. I mean, championship teams for United is harsh, but listen, Ipswich are one of the worst Premier League teams I've seen ever. And we're going, oh my God, we battered them. Yeah, of course we did. They're crap. Of course we did. So let's see what we do moving forward. And I know people don't want to wait for consistency. I know they want to get really, really hyped and really excited. I've seen this before. We've seen this before. Do you remember earlier in the season where we beat Man U and Brentford? Yeah? Matt, please stop. You're annoying me now. Yeah? Please stop. You're boring me. I haven't said get a new manager. I've not talked about that. Just stop. Yeah? Saying you are hyping up Amorim. Ruben Amorim, I think, is a very good manager. This manager, look at all the excuses you make, Matt, for Ange, who's had £400 million and 2 years and 4 windows. Ruben Amorim has got an injury crisis, like you say, and none of his own players. Let's see what they do next year. Then get on to him. But the standards you hold for Ange, hold them for Ruben Amorim. That's the difference. Big up to Ian JD. Thank you very much. It's very generous. Lots of love for Frank lately. Lots of love for my little baby Frank. Hopefully he will hopefully he will enjoy the rest of his life, and we're going to give him lots of treats and love and fun and meat, and he's going to have a roast dinner later. He'll have the roast that I have. So, but thank you very much, Ian. That's very, very generous of you. And Blaine Dev, always very generous. I said the only way I'll be convinced by Ange is if we win the Europa and finish top 8, then I'll say I'm wrong. Listen, Blaine Dev, for me, it's only if he wins Europa for me. Only if he wins the Europa, because this man talks a lot. These fans, the Matts, the Dales, these people, the Reeseys, they big this manager up beyond belief. I expect big things. You can't big a manager up and then he completely fails. So I agree with you. Big up to you, my man. He's got to win the Europa League. He's got to. If he doesn't, I've got no time for him at all, and I don't want him here next year. Big up to you. Really, really appreciate that. Oh, hang on 1 second. What's going on here? 1 second. Boom, 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 boom. Sorry. Share, copy, boom. 1 second. Private chat. Where's my private chat? Let me stick that in there for myself. So I'm just trying to remind myself to do something at the end. Right. Yeah. So look, for me, I just think we've got to stop doing this. Every time Spurs win a game, we suddenly forget how bad the year has been. Let's see it play out. Before people want me to change my mind, can we see it play out? But Dale, we lose so many games. Yeah. But Dale, again, I think Bentancur's very overrated. Nothing to do with Coventry. I've said this since we signed him. I think he's an okay player, massively overrated by our fan base. Yeah. And do you know what? The problem is, Dale, we've got idiots in our fan base like Matt that do you know what? If Ange was doing what Matt, bearing in mind, Ange Postecoglou is 3 points above Ruben Amorim. One is brilliant and should be kept and he's great. The other's a fraud. This is why it's really difficult. And this is why no one in my chat gives Matt any praise or any credit, because he says just dumb things all the time. So, okay. So Ruben Amorim then doesn't get 3 to 5 years, but Ange should. Use your own logic. Big up to get that stinky fraud Arteta out of my club with a super sticker. Thank you so much, mate. I really appreciate that. And I'll put that towards the treat fund for little Frank. He's going to have so many treats, isn't he? Yeah, listen, it's interesting. Look, big up to Chem, my man, who said Amorim a fraud and Postecoglou not. Look, this is what I mean, Chem. There's no consistency when these people just say these silly things. Like, first of all, fraud. Everyone's a fraud. Let's see. Do you know what? I'd say this to Man United fans. Next year, when Ruben Amorim's got 5, 6, 7 of his own players, he's had a pre-season to work with them. Let's see what they do next season. If they're still like this, sure, knock yourselves out. But isn't it funny how people like Matt can make all these excuses for Ange, but then when it's another club's manager having a tough time, it's fraud, rubbish, shocking. What if Amorim wins the Europa League? Just saying. Slynell said, Savva, eat your words on Johnson's, mate. Your ego won't allow. Slynell, do you know the difference between me and you, mate? Is when you just say stupid shit like that, yeah? People will laugh at you. Why don't you come on and say, Savva, what are your thoughts on Brennan Johnson now? But what you've done is, yeah, you've come in childishly, eat your words. Your ego won't allow that. Eat my words of what? What? He's brilliant at tapping the ball in the net. Great. Yeah, he's brilliant at that. Shit footballer. Brilliant at tapping the ball in the net. I don't know what you want me to say. Really don't know what you want to say. But again, grow up. It's really not difficult. Really not difficult. Absolutely, Paul. Only successful managers get 5 years. This notion that managers should get 3 to 5 years, where has this come from? Where has this come from that managers need 3 to 5 years? Did Eddie Howe need 3 to 5 years to turn Newcastle around? Did Iriola need 3 to 5 years to turn Bournemouth around? Did Thomas Frank need 3 to 5 years at Brentford? Has Glasner needed 3 to 5 years to take Palace from a relegation-threatened club to level with Tottenham? I just don't get it. I don't get it. Why 3 to 5 years? Where has this notion come from now that everyone needs 3 to 5 years? It's absolutely madness. There's a reason why big clubs sack managers that don't do well, because they've got standards. So the problem is, with this 3 to 5 year notion that everyone's talking about, the problem is, by the way, smash that like button, please. 81 likes is absolutely diabolical. By the way, Danny Kiriakou, let me know if you want to come on, bud. Let me know if you want to come on, mate. We haven't spoke for a while. If you want to come on, I'll send you the link. Where are we? I'll send it to you, and if you're available, I don't know if you are, but Sunday morning football chat. I might guess copy. Danny, I'll send it to you. If you're about, you're about. If you're not, you're not. And it's not the end of the world. But yeah, let's see what you're saying. What's your name? Danny Kiriakou. I've got so many bloody contacts because of YouTube. It's unbelievable. There you go. If you fancy it, the link's there. I bet everyone thinks you're Anjin now. Oh, mate, you know me. I'm not that easily turned. I'm not that easily turned. Finn, this is the thing. This is where childish people don't get it. You're right. You're right. I can't imagine that Man U looked at the state they were in and went, immediate success. Surely. It's absolutely madness. Exactly, Ali. It's not a relationship. Ethan, bang on. Absolutely bang on, Ethan. Yeah. This is the problem. Fans look now and go, well, Arteta's had 5 years. Sure. Look how many Arsenal fans want him out now because what's he done, realistically? Son Tobago said, if Son keeps passing the ball like he did with Johnson, we'll be much higher at the table. I hope he plays less greedy in the future. Also, it does help when you're playing a really bad team. I mean, again, yesterday, Son looked good because it was one of the worst teams we played all season. Against the better teams, I don't see him doing a lot. Timothy has said, Arteta in his 5-year tenure, won COVID FA Cup and consistently missing out on everything else. 3 to 5 years, Timothy, we need to give everyone. Foxy, bang on. Bang on, Foxy. Johnson, a good moments player. I completely agree with you. Completely agree with this assessment of Brennan Johnson. Listen, scoring goals, brilliant. No doubt about it. He gets in the right areas. That is what I'll give him massive credit for. He gets in the right areas. As a footballer, I don't rate him one bit. Getting in the right areas, brilliant. Can't knock it. Here he is, Angus. Here he is. You disappeared yesterday, mate. 1 year is enough to put your style on the team. 6 months is enough to put your style on the team. You don't need 3 years. No one needs 3 years to put a style on a team. No one's ever needed 3 years to put a style on a team. It's madness. This, we don't always agree, Soul Sniper Gaming, but this we agree on. You get the 3 to 5 years if you're seeing that. You can't see that and then go, he needs time. After 2 years, we've nearly had this guy for 2 years. We should be a well-drilled team that aren't conceding 20-odd shots a game on our goal, surely. Savva, did you see the clip of... I haven't seen it, no. I haven't seen it. Last night I was actually watching some films and some box sets. Every now and then, believe it or not, I need to switch off and have 3 or 4 hours away from football. Steve, yeah, Angus is here. Yeah, Cam, of course Cam's here because we won. Of course Cam's here. Big up to Cam. These people crack me up. 3 to 5 years is the period and taking everything into context. Tell me who. I'll tell you what, everybody, let's find out from Matt. Name me managers that have taken 3 to 5 years and prove them what you said. 3 to 5 years. Let's see. Go on, mate. Let's see. Ben Davis in the chat said, we won the game and that's great, but we are so easy to create chances against. Yep. Let's imagine they took the early chances. We could have lost twice. This is the thing for me. I need to see that he's organising us better. That first 10 minutes, a top team, we're 2-0 down. Yeah, it's okay when you get away with it against Ipswich. It's okay. You won't get away with it against top teams, as Chelsea showed, as Liverpool showed, as Arsenal showed. You won't get away with it, as Newcastle showed. Big up, Ben. Big up to you. Here she is. Ellie has said, Brennan Johnson is not a good footballer. That's my faults. You're going to call every fan who doesn't rate him. Ask yourself this. He costs us more goals with his poor technique. Ellie, do you know what? Do you know what, Ellie? The one thing as well, that man doesn't help out at the back. He doesn't help out at the back. Soul Sniper Gaming, but Gary Lineker wasn't a winger. Gary Lineker was a striker in the box. His job was to score goals. Brennan Johnson, he's playing out wide. His job should be to offer an outlet. His job should be to track back. His job should be to be a defender. Phil, we don't always agree. I agree with you on this. Listen, I've said I don't know what to say. Like when people like Sly Nell say, I don't know what I genuinely don't think he's a good footballer, but he gets in the right positions and finishes. All the while he's doing that, no problem. But I don't enjoy watching him play. I never see Johnson get the ball and go, God, that's a player. I don't know why it's so wrong to say that. Angus, he's got a point, mate. Angus, he's got a point. You come into streams all year giving it the big one. When it goes wrong, you've got to take it on the chin. You couldn't be a YouTuber, Angus. Trust me, we take it on the chin all day, every day. I still don't believe this at all. I don't believe anyone needs 3 years. He should be putting his stamp on the team in 6 months, a year, not 3 years. Sorry, mate. I'm waiting for examples from people of 3 years. I'm waiting for examples. BJ is what we used to call a goal hanger, not a footballer at all. I completely agree with you. But I don't know. The problem is, Richest Man, people don't want a few nice words. What they want is you to go overboard. So what people like Sly Nell, who's a complete child, what they want is me to go, oh my God, how good is Brennan Johnson? He's amazing. I mean, let me quickly turn that sound off. I mean, that's what people like him want. They do not want me to go, yeah, he scores goals. They want me to really, really overpraise. Arkis has said Benson Core is so frustrating. By the way, when people get annoyed at me for calling out comments, not you, Arkis, that's what my show's about. My show has always been about getting you lot involved. Yeah, you lot are the same as me, you football fans. Yeah, it's my show, right? It's my show, and I choose to use it to read out your comments, right? Where possible. You don't have your own team you want in 1 year. No, that's not what I said, Phil. In 1 year, you should see a clear philosophy. The team should be well drilled. Doesn't mean you've got all your own players, but you should be well drilled and see a philosophy. This manager's had 4 transfer windows. We still look wide open. He's had 400 million, 4 transfer windows, and about 17 signings. Klopp, Arteta, Poch, Fergie. Well, Poch didn't take 3 to 5 years. No, Poch didn't. After year 1, Poch had Spurs as a really well-organised, well-drilled, good football team. So there you're wrong. Jurgen Klopp got to 2 finals in his first season, and you could absolutely see their identity, and they were getting better and better and better. Arteta hasn't done anything. Fergie, how many years back are we going? Again, Matt, see, you've got to learn your history. Yeah? You've got to learn your history. This is the problem. Poch did not. I'll tell you what, let's show Matt Poch, because again, Matt just says stupid. I'd love you to come on, mate. I would love you to come on the show and have a chat. You never will, but I'd love you to, because you just say some outlandish things safely behind the keyboard. Pochettino. Maurizio Pochettino. Here he is. Hello, mate. Maurizio Pochettino. Oh, no, that's a club. You remember, Poch's first year was a little bit difficult. From the second season, we all went, yeah, look at this. Yeah, really like this manager. Look at what he's doing. Look how well organised the defence is. He didn't need 3 to 5 years, did he? He did not need 3 to 5 years at all. Moondog, I said that was a scary start. I'm still trying to be optimistic, but we do need to tighten up at the back. Do you know where it is, Mondog, for me? I think we need to tighten up in the midfield. There's no midfield. Like, I see people yesterday going, oh my God, Berg foul. Bentancur controlled the game. I'm watching Ipswich in the first half run through us like there's no midfield there. We're praising midfielders when they're not actually controlling games of football, when they're easy to run through. It's all a bit crazy in this fan base at the moment. Big up Daniela has said, okay, a good win yesterday, but it was Ipswich. You beat teams at the bottom and City are well below par. But West Ham beat Arsenal. Listen, you've done better than we have in terms of the calibre of teams you beat. Yeah, you go to Arsenal and win. We can't win there for love nor money. You know, 1 second. But we they go to Arsenal, beat them. We go there, damp squib, aren't we? Uh, sure, okay, then play him there. Play him there. It's not my fault the manager plays him on the right. I don't know what you want me to do with that. Reno said, "Hi Sav, a legacy coach like Ange could still come good. Do you think there's any scenario where it starts to finally click? Only if he learns. Only if he buys some defensive midfielders and shores up that midfield. Only if he stops playing so wide open. It's really that simple. Arteta for 3 years example, but for what? Arteta for 3 years for what? Like, I don't know what it's madness. I'm taking it on the chin, mate. Reason why I wasn't here because I was extremely hungover. Angus, you crack me up, man. You really, really do crack me up. Danny Kiriakou, there he is.
I thought I'd bring a special guest today, Sav.
Hello, little. Hello. Oh, I love pugs.
No, they're the best dogs, aren't they?
Oh, mate, yeah, I love pugs, but
personalities. They've got the best personalities. Yeah. They're so funny. But yeah, he's a little shit as always. All pugs are, but yeah, he's a lovely one.
Sorry. Just quickly before I get to you, I can't believe we're gonna try and put Gary Lineker and Brennan Johnson in a conversation. I don't know what we're doing here. To quote my mate Perchy, what are we doing here? Gary Lineker, I can't. Danny, I can't do it. Danny,
yes.
This morning we're talking about. It seems to me that we're talking about apparently managers every manager should have 3 to 5 years as a given. Mm-hmm. Every manager should have 3 to 5 years. Can you imagine that, Danny? And can you imagine how many managers would never, ever have a job if no one was ever sacked for 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, it'd be not in the modern day. It doesn't work anymore. It's like it's too much because there's so much more money involved nowadays. It's too much of a results business, and people don't just have the time. And you can't if a manager's like, I don't know, say they're in the job for like 4 years and they haven't really shown. They might have shown progress, but they haven't really kind of evolved over that time, and it's just stayed stagnant. Then something has to change because it's not going to change unless you get really lucky, basically. So that's kind of how I see it. And if we're kind of relating it to Ange, like he said, didn't he say at the beginning that he needed 4 windows to transform this team? He said, and the summertime will be the 4th window, or has it already been 4 windows? No, yeah, summertime will be. We've had 4 windows already.
4 windows.
So, and we're nowhere near transformed. Like, we've got so much work still to do. And I just think managers, I think with us anyway, I just think that managers need to kind of have a bit of a, you want to get on the desk? Managers, I'm trying to think like what's the best way to put it. I think with like, I'll give you an example, right? Arteta, how long has he been in the job for? He's been in the job for
5.5, 6 years now, isn't it?
And apart from bottling everything he's gone through, he hasn't gone on to win the Premier League, and he probably won't win it again, right? So it's like, where do the clubs say, like, is that all they want, or are they going to be more ambitious to go to the next level and try and get someone in who's going to take them over the line? And that's kind of like what we had when we had Poch. It's kind of the same kind of thing. We needed. I don't think Poch was ever going to win something because I don't think he had it in him to win it. If that win something, do you know what I mean? And like, as much as I love Poch, don't get me wrong, we all did, right? Because we had some of the best football and best memories under his tenureship, but we still didn't win anything, and that's the problem. And
but don't you think the problem is, Danny? Don't you think this is the problem? Like, I'm seeing this right now with all the. I love it when we have hundreds of people in and people are having different chats. That's what this is all about. But I think people are not understanding the difference between a manager that can actually get a team solid and looking compact versus a manager winning things. So, like right now, I've got people in the chat belittling Harry Redknapp for not winning anything. Harry Redknapp, within the space of about 4 games, made Spurs a good unit. right? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Harry Redknapp took about a month to get Spurs.
Where were we when he came in, Sam? We were like at the bottom of the table nearly,
We
weren't
were
we?
bottom. We were
Yeah,
2 points from 8 games,
yeah.
two draws from 8 games and 6 defeats. And I'm not talking about managers coming in and who's going to win immediately. But Danny, I'm watching these games, and yes, we win. We've won these last couple of games. I'm watching how many shots Ipswich have, Man
Yeah.
United have, Brentford have. How are we this wide open after nearly 2 years of this manager working day in, day out on the training ground?
Well, I mean,
Surely we should be solid.
well, yeah, I think so. I definitely agree. We should have a lot more. We should be a lot more organized and structured. But yeah, I mean, even when he doesn't help himself, and like he does put himself in it by what he says in the press conference and stuff like this. Like when he says we're not training and stuff like that, and then he goes to Everton without training apparently, and then does a back three that he hasn't done all season, or back five, or whatever it was, and then we go 3-0 down against Everton in the first half, and then he tries to use the excuse afterwards. Oh, see, I tried to change, it didn't work, and it's like, well, how can you say you don't train, you then change the formation for the first time, like, and go for a back three, and then because it didn't work, you're now trying to say that, oh, look, see everyone, it didn't work. But that makes no sense. Like that shows like when you're a fan looking from the outside in, it shows incompetency, right? Because it's like, how can you say you're going to do that and then you're not going to train and then you're going to change the formation? It's like, what are you doing, kind of thing. So that's why if there's a lot of fans that get so frustrated with him, because he doesn't help himself. He really doesn't help himself. And
No.
do you know what, Sav? It's like, you're right. Like we should have some kind of structure. But you get what I get the feeling of when I see the players play. It's like a lot of the times, it's like they just don't know what they're doing. Like they kind of,
Agree.
it's like there's no cohesion, right? It's like maybe he's getting them to do a specific task or role during a game, but then it kind of just fades away and they kind of just end up sort of doing what they want to do. Like there was times yesterday where I saw some of the players. I was at the game with Ben, and there was times where you saw some players just way out of position. Like not even if it's like they're going on a run or anything like that, just completely just somewhere else on the pitch. And you're like, who's covering that person? Who's covering that gap when there's a massive gap, like right back or wherever it was, when the other player's gone somewhere else on the pitch? Because I know that it's only the first 10 games. In the first 10 games of Ange, what we saw was when someone was dropping, someone was going forward, and there was like there was a bit of cohesion, right? So like if a player would go forward, then someone would cover that empty space, and there was you kind of saw the idea of what he wanted to do and what he wanted to bring to the football club, right? But ever since that Chelsea game, it's just like it's all gone out the window, and it's like they kind of just go gung ho, and then no one's actually doing the jobs that they're supposed to be doing because probably an element of it is the way they're training, right? And like we run the most distance in the Premier League, and you wonder why we have all these injuries, and you wonder why that all the players seem like they're dying and they don't want to run. And
do you know the interesting thing, Danny? Do you know the interesting
yeah,
thing about this is if you look, right, we sacked Conte, and I wasn't against it. You know, we sacked Conte because we wanted to be a free-flowing attacking football team. If you actually watch how we score our goals and play now, we've gone back to being a counter-attacking football team.
I know.
If you look at all our goals now, they're quick on the break. There's no build-up. There's no really nice free-flowing football. We are a counter-attacking team again. But this was the guy that was brought in to play free-flowing attacking football.
Yeah.
You're right, Danny. When I watch Spurs, I think you've got a lot of players that do good things in moments. I think we do some good things in moments. But as an actual structure, I think we look all over the place. And
definitely.
I would expect to beat Ipswich. They're crap. I would very much expect to beat them. But that first 10 minutes,
oh my God,
how have we started a game and Ipswich are just opening us up through the middle, like, you know, the parting of the Red Sea? It's just absolutely madness. Come on, mate, you're right.
It is. I'm just letting the dog out.
Yeah, you're right. Go
on. Now he's barking because he wants to come back. No, you're right. It is madness, Sav, and it's just like yesterday, right? Like I think that the scoreline probably flattered us, to be honest.
Oh,
like,
sure.
It did actually flatter us. Like I know it was good for what and we should be beating Ipswich, right? But yeah, I just think it did flatter us a bit because, like, if you look at the overall play of the game, right, in the Ipswich, if they really took it to us yesterday, I think they could have really, we could have been like 2 or 3 nil down in the first 10 minutes. We were really lucky not to concede in the first 10 minutes, especially in the first minute. We looked all over the place, like it was like, and the worst thing is, right, they were just kind of standing around, and they weren't. Again, what I've seen so many times this season is they just hold off, they hold off, and they don't go towards their man, and they just try stand their ground, but then they just let the player walk through. And it's like you see it's time and time again, and it just looks like they cut open our team when really our team's not doing enough to actually stop the ball from going through the team. And as a team, they're not doing it enough, and that's kind of. That's what's the most frustrating thing. Like, yeah, I mean, even yesterday, right? Yeah, when we, I think yesterday the biggest thing for us was when we had those subs, right? That substitution when the 2 or 3 players came on, and then we just had this like injection of energy. Madison came on, Odebear came on. I think who was the other player? Was Basuma came on as well, and there was Sun, yeah, and Dane Scarlett came on. When they came on, it just completely gave us a whole new dynamic a bit. And that's when I think we had our best period of football, to be honest, because there was a lot more energy on the pitch. But yeah, it's why like it's why like yeah, I don't know. It's hard to explain, man, because when I look,
let me ask you this: when you watch Spurs, do you think, "Oh, that's a good team"? Like,
No.
like do you watch us and think that's a really well organized team? Yeah. Like I watched yesterday and went, yeah, good win. Really good win against a really crap team. But I don't know about you. I was falling asleep. I was trying my best. I was trying my best during the watch along to stay awake. And I think this is the difference.
Hey,
I think
Sean.
what look, I miss my old Sean and Danny, my Sean and Danny kind of battle royales. But I think in particular, like, as YouTubers, Danny, you know this. Like yesterday, Spurs won 4-1. You can imagine every comment I get is Savva's in the mud. Blah, blah, blah. We're back. Look how amazing we are. All I've said is what I want to see now is the next 4 games in the Premier League are against teams in the top 10. Right? You've got Chelsea, City, Bournemouth, and Fulham. I want to see those games, not Ipswich and Man United, before I start going, we're back. We're back. We're amazing. Why is that so bad?
It's not. It's not because the reality.
Because you mud everybody when we lose. That's how it works, bro. When we lose, you go, yeah, it's your manager. Mud.
He's still their manager. He's not my
manager.
But
the thing is though, the truth is those teams are not performing well, and neither are we. So to see where we are right now, we need to play better quality of team, right? Who's higher up in the league. And when that's how you can judge where you really are, and whether or not these players coming back does make the difference that Ange's claiming. That's kind of what fans want to see, right? So look, there was a lot of positives from yesterday in terms of Udogie coming back. I thought in the first half he was pretty good, right? His running, his attacking ability yesterday was pretty good. I think Son had a good game yesterday. Bergvall I thought was really good. Kevin Danso I thought had a great performance.
Kevin can go straight into the first name on the team sheet.
Big
He's
Kev.
incredible.
And again, I think I
thought he had a really bad first half. I thought he had
it was a fault. It was a fault for the first goal. It was a fault for the first.
He was a bit shaky. It was a bit. It kind of like when it started the first half, right? It kind of like he looked shaky. Then he started getting into it, and then he went a bit shaky again, right? And then that's like when they conceded the goal. When we conceded the goal, then in the second half he was brilliant. He was really good. Yeah, look, and what I like the fact that I know that Porro needed a rest, but I like the dynamic between Spence on the right and Udogie on the left. I really like that quite a lot, and I think we might see that more often than not. I'm hoping to anyway, because we need the rotation. And yeah, I just think look, the truth is, right, Ange's not getting sacked until the summer, so this is kind of like his kind of interview kind of process, right, to see whether or not he's got the ability to kind of take us forward, right? I think
Is this
that's how
like
he's
when
going
you're
to
at
be judged.
work and you're given you're brought in for your
Like
court
probation
probation.
period. Yeah,
and,
probation period.
and
Yeah,
you're told, look,
yeah.
it's not been going great. You've got 3 months because
It's kind
believe
of
it or
like
not,
that. It
guys.
is kind of like that.
As much as I don't want Angie, I truly think now, yeah, we have gone past the point of it's pointless anything for the rest of this season. But Sean, it's great. 3 wins in a row, much needed. More than anything, Sean, forget all of the he said, she said. We had to do that because we had dropped to 16th in the league and we needed to stop the rot. We have. But Sean, big tests coming up. 3 big games coming up that are not Ipswich and that are not Man United. How are you seeing it all at the moment?
Joe, I actually was like gobsmacked by it. So I put out a video that similar to something like this. So I put out my video last night. I didn't see anybody else's content. I dropped into yours, Savva, at the last 5 minutes just to say hello or whatever it was in your comment section. But I didn't. I was just watching the game with normal commentary. Did my video, and my video was like unconditionally positive. I was like, look, there's a few little niggles I could have around certain things. I think that some of the midfielders at times had this, and I saw like 5 or 6 observations of it, and it was a concern. And I understand why they want to do it, but it was almost like when the ball was ricocheting around, when Ipswich were putting the ball in the box in the second half, and there was, Liam Delap was going up for a header. What a player he is, by the way. Unbelievable. But like some of the Tottenham players were like almost anticipating that there was going to be a transition before we'd won the ball back. And they were making their moves. They were like starting to counter, expecting someone else to win the ball back. And 3 of them were doing it at the same time, and no one was winning the ball back. And I was like, well, it's all cool, like being on the front foot and wanting to break quick and do this counter-attacking thing that you just alluded to, Savva. And I don't disagree with you at all. But you have to win the ball back first. And if 3 of you who are supposed to be in there winning the ball back are expecting someone else to do it, there's problems. That's the only real criticism as a team thing. What I actually thought, above all of the, and I agree with you, Danny, with regards individual performances, a bit more balance. I thought it was great to see the fullbacks stay wide. And then what I love to see, and I've been calling him out for it all week,
Scarlett.
I don't in any way expect there to be a correlation to the calling of it out versus the implementation of a strategy that corrected for it.
Go on, Sean.
I'm all week long I was saying, why on God's green earth did we just desert this notion of a back 3 with 45 minutes of sample size against Everton as a failed experiment, when even if you're planning for a change, if you're to take him on his word when he says the injuries, when he was accused of the injuries being his fault because of over-intensive training, right? Well, if he's saying that can't be true because we don't train anymore, then at the same time, you're opening yourself up to people that are going, well, wait a minute. If that's the case, if we're not training, then why is it we pivoted to a low block against Liverpool, which we haven't planned for, and it's not plan A, it's not who we are, mate? And why did you do what you did against Everton? Back 3, 45 minutes, shelved it. It didn't work. We tried it. Let's never talk of it again. None of those things both things can't be true at the same time. Either you didn't plan for the systems that you tried, or you didn't tell the truth regarding the training ground injuries, right? Or the intensity regarding. But then yesterday, and I said, like, I think that the back 3 system could work with this squad that we have. It actually lends more to a back 3, fullbacks, wing backs push up, haven't got to get back, haven't got to break their ass to get back because you can spread the. And then they went and played Bentancur, not for the entire game, but for the most part, the genesis of our move started with Bentancur sitting back in the middle of a back 3 and then stepping up when necessary. And he was playing that kind of quarterback roller, if you like, at times. And I thought it was wonderful. I thought I really, really liked it. It was lovely to see. I don't know how deliberate it was or whether it was something we're going to see more of, but it was lovely to see Archie Gray and Danso push a little bit wider, and then Bentancur just to sit and hold. And like I say, with the exception of that abdication of positional awareness for some of the defensive responsibilities and the anticipation of a counter, the rest of it, I was really impressed with. To your point, though, Savva, it was Ipswich. And as much as I really do like Ipswich, and I think they've got a really cool little... I love Philogene, Amari Hutchinson, cracking player, like that Clark fella. Really, really... I didn't know much about Clark, but if that was a typical performance from him, then really impressive. And obviously...
You're talking about Jack Clark, the one who played the Spurs. That Clark you're talking about. Yeah.
The guy was the assist. He got the assist for
Jack
Amari
Clark.
Hutchinson.
Yeah,
that's Jack Clark. Was that Jack Clark?
That was Jack Clark. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. I didn't know that. I thought he had a really good game, and obviously Liam Delap goes without saying. This guy is fast. He's got pace. He absolutely tore Archie Gray to pieces in the first 6 minutes of that game. and he's tall,
Yeah.
strong, big, powerful geezer, good footwork. Surely he's not going to be playing at Ipswich next season, especially if they go down. He'll get a move. But I'm really impressed with Kieran McKenna's willingness to set them up, and I don't think they deserve to be with the football that I've seen them play. And then obviously yesterday's game, I don't think they deserve to be down there. Then there's so much better of an outfit than like a Southampton, right? But it's just difficult to see them clawing back that point gap.
Quality of player, Sean. It's quality of player. You know, when you look at what Ipswich have got, I would expect them to be down there because of the quality of player. But he's a good coach. You can see that he's a good coach. Question is, what would he do with a better squad, right? I agree with you, Sean. I'm more than happy that we won the game yesterday. I am. What I can't get behind is I just can't get behind that suddenly everything's rosy in the garden. Like, in the last 3-4 weeks.
Far from it.
Yes, we've beaten some poor teams, but we've also lost to Leicester City. That's their only win in 11 Premier League games.
Yeah.
We were embarrassingly knocked out of both cups, and it was embarrassing. We went out of both cups with a whimper.
Yeah,
exactly. With a whimper. So for me, if we are only playing league games at the moment until the Europa League starts again, then I should expect to see the results.
100%. And do you know what, Sav? Like, it's kind
having
of
those players back though was a massive difference, right? Sonny having a week rest for Sonny, he looked like a different player yesterday in that first half.
Yeah, but he was playing against Ipswich. But this is my problem, Sean. He is playing against a really. We've got to remember this is an Ipswich team that have won 3 games all season for a reason, right?
One against us.
I need to see Son do that against City. I need to see Son do that when we were playing Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool. I don't see Son doing anything.
Well, I think Sonny did do that against City in the 4-0 game, right? He tore Kyle Walker to pieces, didn't he, in that second half? I hear what you're saying.
Yeah,
I hear what you're saying. I don't disagree with you that it's a low bar to be sitting there and going, everything's back, everything's rosy in the garden. And I completely concur with you. We've got 3 or 4 big games coming up over the next couple of weeks. Back to playing twice a week as well, right? After you get a week off, you got 8 days between City and Alkmaar. But after that, you've got Alkmaar. Then I think is it Bournemouth after that, and then Alkmaar again, and then someone else, right? So it's tough games, tough 4 games after City. City's not going to be any a walk in the park.
Yeah.
But I do think that the week break did play a part, and I do think that the balance in the squad looked better, and it was nice to see some options off the bench. And for what it's worth, I'll give Ange his flowers here. I thought his substitutions yesterday were perfect in choice and also perfect in timing. Maddison coming off the bench against the tired team that have to play, that have to fight, they have to come out and play. His ability to just do that little technical tricky stuff that he does is superb. Lucas Bergvall got moved a little bit further forward when they brought on a few other players, and his ability to drive through. Like, there are some really nice positives to take from yesterday. If you want to see it through a glass half full, you can see some good positives.
I don't think it's glass half full, glass half empty. But listen, Ipswich haven't won a game for 3 months. I'm really not going to go, the shape was great, we did this. I thought in the first 10 minutes we looked absolutely dog shit. In the first 10 minutes of that game, a better team, we're 2-0 down. And this is the difference for me. Yes, we won the game, but I expect us to beat a crap Man United. I expect us to beat a crap Ipswich. I want to see now the next 4 Premier League games are all in the top half of the table.
Who are they?
I want to see. We've got Man City, Bournemouth,
Chelsea,
Forest,
Chelsea,
Fulham and Chelsea.
Yeah.
Right. I want to see how many points do we get out of that 12. How do we set up against them? Because so far, Ipswich, Brentford, and Man United, between them, I don't know if you know this, between those 4 clubs have had 57 shots on our goal, right? And that's 3 very underwhelming teams. If you do that to Bournemouth, if you do that with Man City, if you do that with Chelsea, you're going to be ripped wide open. That's why, for me, I want to see it against the better teams before I get carried away. But by the way, Sean, in the last 20 games in the Premier League, Man United and Ipswich, Man United and Ipswich are in the bottom 3 of the form table over the last 20 games. So
aren't we top for the last 3 games?
I mean, if we want to go down to 3 games, sure we are. But look, I need to see it against proper teams. I need to see it against proper teams.
Well, this is the thing,
I'll start getting carried away.
It is like his probation period now, because look, he's starting to get players back, so he can't really use that as the excuse anymore, right? and he's getting options on the bench, so he has the ability to now change it up like he did yesterday, which showed it made a difference, right? Which we maybe haven't had that kind of ability to do that in the last 3 months, right? I'm not saying that we would have made a massive difference, but you saw yesterday it did make a difference. So look, like for someone like Andre, I think if he was to, and I'm not saying he's going to do this, but if he was to go on and win the Europa League, for example, you'd have to give him another shot next season, because he's won a major
most successful
trophy.
manager in 45 years. Danny, you know?
Yeah, exactly. He's won a major trophy and got Daniel Levy what he wants, which is Champions League.
Can I ask you about that? Right, so I've had this debate for I don't know how long I've been in this community, 3 years now, right? I had this debate. Savva, I think we had it many times, me and yourself. The top 4 isn't a trophy, right? And I was like, yeah, okay, it's not a trophy, but it is important for financial reasons. But park the trophy versus the reward versus the ambition. Park all that stuff. I kind of always used to say that for me, watching football is about the overall season, right? And like the journey, get the distraction from your life, the struggles, whatever. You want to park yourself into a different reality for 90 minutes and watch good football, enjoyable football, and hopefully more often than not successful football that at least gets you the 3 points on the Saturday or twice a week, once a week, twice a week. But to those that say, well, unless you win a trophy, you have failed, then top 4 is never going to be a good season, right? Fair enough, because if top 4 is not a trophy, and then so if you don't win the Carabao Cup, FA Cup, then or the Europa League, whatever, then you failed. If Tottenham go on to win the Europa League this season, given that we are 7 games, we've got maximum 20 games left in the season. We could lose all 13 games and probably still not get anywhere near the relegation or not be caught by the relegation teams because of how bad they've been, right? And if you go and win the other 7 in the Europa League, you go and lift the trophy, and Ange Postecoglou becomes the most successful manager in terms of trophy hauls and caliber of trophy, if you like, in the last 40 odd years, so my entire lifetime. But I will reflect on this season as being largely fucking miserable, the vast majority of it, because we have lost so many games, we've played such abject football at times, the injuries, the arguments, all this stuff, and yet. If we'd got top 4 and only got to the 3rd or 4th round in the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, you would be experiencing 75% of the time you're going to walk away with 3 points every week, and people will be saying that Tottenham are in a much better space because you've beaten the vast majority of your competition. So it kind of brings me back to this idea of like, what is success? Or should success only be measured by trophies when most people would say this was a forgettable season, even if it turns out to be our most successful season in 40 years?
For me, Sean, right? Why I want to watch football is because it's football. Football is for memories, right? And you remember the big wins. That's what you remember the most, right? For me, if we were to finish mid-table in the season, right, and we go on and win the Europa League, right, I'm going to remember that for the rest of my life, right? I'm going to remember that for the rest of my life. I'm going to go down Tottenham High Road watching Spurs players on the open top bus going through the High Road with that Europa League trophy, right? That's what I'm going to remember for the rest of my life, and that for me is what football is really all about.
You will remember this season, even though like it's taken
I won't even remember
Carabag and Ferencváros and Elfsborg to get there.
Sean, it doesn't matter because we've lifted a major European trophy.
So you'll think fondly of this season, even though the vast majority of the season
I will think of it
as a fucking shit show.
I will think of it as it's been a shit show, but we won a European trophy, right?
Danny,
in my lifetime. That's how I will see it. But
I hear you. Yeah.
Do you know why, Sean? When I speak to my dad, right, when I speak to him, he's seen us lift up European trophies, FA Cups, right? They're the memories that stick in his mind from his Tottenham days. Not the finishing 4th in a table or finishing mid-table and not winning anything. It's the ones that you go to the finals and you're with your friends and your family and you're feeling that absolute euphoria of lifting a trophy in football, which is so hard to do because not many teams can do it, right? That for me is what I want to experience.
Can I throw a spin on this?
Just before you do, Sav, like lifting a League Cup is going to be amazing, right? It'll be amazing just for the feel of it. But lifting a European trophy, for me, that's a massive thing. That is huge, and I would love to see my team do that because that for me.
So then you'd be all about you'd be Ange, right? 100%. You'd be Ange because he's the manager.
I'd give him a chance. I'd give him a chance. It's not to say he's going to succeed, but I'd give him a chance, 100%. I mean, even now, Sean, I'm not Ange out. I'm not Ange in. I'm like, I'd like to see what plays out, right? Because if he gets sacked in the summer, fair enough. Let's see what they do, right? But if not, then if the guy wins a trophy, or if they're going to back him, then just see what happens. That's for me what football's about.
I'll put a spin on it. Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
I think in a one-off season, if you finish 8th to 10th, you win the Europa League. Brilliant, right? Because we're Tottenham, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
If you're at Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, City, Man United, that's not good. That's not good. They don't get away with. They'll get away with that once, right? At Tottenham, as a one-off season, we'll go, oh my God, because we've had no success. So that's amazing, right?
Yeah.
If you want to be a proper big club, though, not now, but if you want to be a proper big club, right? See how he reacts. I commented on Savva. Do me a favor. DM Sean. I don't need to DM Sean. Look, he's there. I can see him
right here.
Right now. See how he reacts. Just see how he reacts. I comment on his channel regularly. Say you.
I don't know. Soul Sniper Gaming. I don't recognize your name at all, bro. If I'm entirely honest, my man, I mean this with all sincerity. I don't recognize your name at all. So if I blocked you, it probably wasn't me that blocked you. It might have been one of the moderators, and it might have happened a long time ago. I think he's talking about
me. I don't think if I blocked you, I think you meant timed out, and I didn't mean to time you out, someone else. But I don't know what you want me to do. Like Sean's my dad. Like I don't know if you think that I'm.
Who's your daddy?
I'm disappointed in me. I'll live with it. Listen, guys. Getting back to my point, right? If Spurs for this one season win the Europa League and finish, it doesn't matter now, 8th, 15th, fine. Yeah. I have turned around and said, Sean, I've said this to you. I've said this to you, box office. I've said this to you, Danny. I turn around and go, sorry, Ange. What a great achievement. Sorry. But guys, this is the thin line. Because if he doesn't win that Europa League and we do finish below 8th and between 8th and 15th, then it's a shocking season. So this is a real thin line of if he wins that Europa League. For me, win it, I've got no leg to stand on. I can
Savva, are you still gonna like? I understand the notion of like success is all that matters. I get it. I'm fully on board that notion. But I'm still going to reflect on this season as being a disappointing one because the vast majority of this season has been fucking shit.
But Sean, that's what I'm getting onto.
Sorry for swearing.
No, but Sean, that's what I was getting onto. That's exactly what I was getting onto. I was going to say that still doesn't mean that I have to particularly love him as a manager. It still doesn't mean I sit there and go, what a season. What that means is I turn around and go, what a good European Cup run. Right, that's
and bearing in mind that the European Cup, the Europa League might have. Sorry, last thing I'll say, Alex, and I'll let you come in. The European Cup might have more gravitas points, but let's be entirely honest, right? We haven't really played anybody that's been that significant of a threat. And if we get past AZ Alkmaar, you know, maybe Frankfurt or Ajax, but Ajax not the team they used to be. Frankfurt we've already beaten in the past, and then you go, well, where's the tough? Whereas in the Carabao Cup, which is the least of all the gravitas points. We would have had to have beaten City, Coventry, City, United, Liverpool over 2 legs, and then Newcastle to have got there. To me, the calibre of the trophy should also somewhat relate to the calibre of the opposition. And the Europa League is not that
stature, isn't it?
It feels more like an achievement, right? Like if you go and beat better teams on the route.
We've had Champions League teams in there. 100%. Champions League teams
when there were Champions League teams,
Champions League teams in there. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Even that road to even where we got to in the semi-final this season against Liverpool, like we beat some big teams on that road to where we got to, and we fell at the last hurdles we usually do. But look, like I said earlier, like for me, even though I'm still going to realize it's been a terrible season if we were to go on and win the Europa League, but still I'm going to remember that 40 years from now, 30 years from now, I'm going to remember that I got to witness Spurs lift the European Cup, right? And we might not ever see that again. And that, for me, at least I can say that I've actually witnessed my team bloody lift a major trophy. And that
should we all buy flights to Bilbao just on the off chance?
Why not? Why not, Sean? I'm up for that. Let's do it.
I can't because my money's tight. Right? You know, the point I'm making is one example to your example of Savva, Di Matteo. Di Matteo winning the Champions League, and look what happened to Chelsea.
Yeah, but Alex, let me say something to you. Do you think Chelsea fans are going to remember that Di Matteo won the Champions League? They're going to remember.
I'm making a point.
Alex,
I'm making a point to Savva's
he
point.
won them their first Champions League.
It doesn't matter.
I'm not arguing that. I would give anything to say that Tottenham had won a Champions League.
No, I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying to Savva's point. He said, if you win a Champions League or win a European Cup, right? Does that mean that you carry on? And Di Matteo wasn't allowed to. Well, he carried on, but then they sacked him afterwards, didn't they?
But like Sean was saying earlier, you have it. Like if he does do that, he will be the most successful manager.
There's no argument there.
So in terms of like what, well, basically you kind of have to give him a chance.
No,
right?
yeah, but there's no argument there though.
No, I know.
The argument is for me because my stance is quite clear, right? And it's going to be like this: he has to win Europa League to have a conversation, right? He's going to be the best manager of the last 2 decades, 110%. Yeah, but the conversation is, right? You've got to do better with these players next season.
I would agree that everyone knows that.
There's no doubt about it. You know what I mean? Because as far as I'm concerned, this season's been absolutely terrible.
Alex, is it fair to say then? Is it fair to say? I did a video the other day, Alex, and I said it's Europa League or bust. So for me,
yeah,
whatever happens, if he doesn't now lift this Europa League,
yes,
yeah, the season has been absolutely shambolic. Now
100%.
we had all the people that guaranteed me. This is what makes me laugh about people. I had the guarantee Savva, you'll be in the mud when we win the Carabao Cup. Well, we went out with that with an absolute whimper. Savva, when we win the FA Cup, well, we went out with that with a whimper. Now I'm being guaranteed we're going to win the Europa League. Look, I've got my doubts as to this manager over 2 legs against proper European opposition. I still don't think he's good enough.
We saw it against Ipswich, didn't we?
Hang on. Over 2 legs, right? If he wins it, people like me turn around and go, fair play, mate. I didn't think you could do that. You've proved me wrong on that front. Now, that doesn't mean that I have to like his style. I don't like how wide open Tottenham are every game. I think that that's really embarrassing that when a manager's been at a football club for 2 years and are still that wide open, that he's not addressed that really worries me. However, when you win the Europa League, I would like to think, and this is a pipe dream, gents, I would love to think that on that day, that if we did, that we would all, for 1 minute, stop having a go at each other, stop worrying about anything, and we'd go, we've just won a European trophy. Pipe dream. I know it is. Pipe dream.
We'll celebrate. I'll celebrate. But the point I'm making is,
there's always going to be the "I told you so"s, mate. That's the game, though, isn't it? Yeah, that's the game. That's what we do. That's what we do. It's not what we do. It's what the people
I don't care anymore.
I told you.
I don't care anymore.
That's why you're the master of content, buddy. Because when you lean the way that you do, and we are inevitably poor for most of the season, you've cultivated a fantastic audience of people that feel the same way that they do. And you get all the views when you're right. But when you're wrong and we go and beat someone, you get all the other people that want to come in and go, I told you so, Savva. Yeah. And so you get the views either way. You get the views either way.
I'll take that, Sean. But where are those people? What makes me laugh is where those people pivot. To use your favorite word so much. Before the Liverpool game, it was you'll see Savva, Ange will have a master plan. We go and get absolutely hammered with no shots on target, nowhere to be seen. We go and get embarrassed by Aston Villa, nowhere to be seen. Then all of a sudden, it's we're winning the Europa League. But my question is this: based on what?
Well, not the way that we played against Man United.
What evidence have we seen from this manager and this team that we are good enough in the biggest of moments against the better teams over 2 legs to successfully negotiate this competition?
Nothing, because the thing is, though, that let's look at it like this. We had a week off. You've had a week off for most of these games. That's why you're seeing what we're seeing at the moment. Okay, we're going to have a week off for that Alkmaar game as well, right? Players are coming back as well. Right, so things are coming to our favour a little bit as well, yeah? Against Ipswich, right? I'll start with Man United because I haven't really said that much about Man United because I can't make your show tonight, right? Man United, even though before the match, I've said on my channel, brilliant, fantastic. You know, the protest, brilliant. I regretted going to that game after that because I said I've won by going to that protest. Going to the game, Man United were absolutely given a new one, giving us a new one, right? And I still talk about our midfield. I still look at our midfield. Now people are saying Bergvall should be our next midfielder, this up and coming midfielder now. Which for me, if you look at Lewis Skelly from Arsenal right now that got a red card, I look at him like that. I look at Bergvall like that. He has his good moments. But
Yeah, but this is,
but look,
but Alex, it's with every young player now at Spurs. The problem is it's copium. What we don't do is we don't give them a year, 2 years to actually prove that they're
this
great.
is what I agree with you.
Exactly. Yeah.
We look for one good game they play, and we go, how brilliant is this? And Alex, let me use this example. 2 years ago, everyone was telling me how Papa Sarr was going to be a great midfielder and he was going to be the main man. Then we signed Gray and it's going to be him. Now Bergvall's had a couple of decent games. It's going to be him. For me, this team won't win anything until we buy proper midfielders.
Yes,
I still, Sean's always said it. And I've always agreed with him on this. If this team does not buy, and we can call it a number 6, but you always said, Sean, if we do not buy a monster number 6, a senior pro that sits in there, dictates, is the captain of the midfield.
Get me McGinn.
Until we get that, you're going to have good games from Sarr every now and then, and Bergvall every now and then, and Bentancur every now and then. But until you get that stable midfield, you're not winning shit.
Yeah,
it's. I saw it yesterday. It's this like inbuilt part of the DNA of a traditional 8 that's being asked to do a bit of a 6 job. Their desire to always get forward is like, I get it. It's what you've grown up doing, right? And so sometimes you just in the moment, under the stresses of the game, under the adrenaline, when we break, you all want to break. Then you drop the ball in transition because someone gives the ball away. It happens all the time with Tottenham. And there's nobody there to protect. You need a 6 or someone like it who's just got whatever. Forget the name 6, whatever. Just someone that is a defensive halfback and that just sits. And then when you break, he's just trotting up behind. He's lifting, he's pulling the line up, but his job is not to get forward and to participate and to use that kind of DNA that he's got to get in there and create. Just sit and protect, because when we give the ball away, you need someone there to protect, especially in a world where the tactics are pivoted to allow the fullbacks to stay wider and to get more traditional overlaps, because then you've got 2 men back and then you've got no one behind it. And that's how you get carved open, like we did against Villa in that first half and how we did in the first 5 minutes yesterday. That you need someone with who's grown up knowing my job is this primarily and everything else is like later.
Someone who smells danger before the danger's there.
Anticipation, concentration, and the ability. Also, you have to have a 92% pass accuracy. If you're going to have that role, you need someone who can get the ball where it needs to be and distribute long, short, medium, into channels, whatever. Someone's like a Bentancur or whatever in his ability on the ball,
do you know what I
off
saw
the ball,
yesterday?
just sits still and relaxes.
Do you know what I saw yesterday? Bergvall, for me, did a brilliant job yesterday at coming back and saving us with last-ditch tackles or saving us with being the last man
Recovery
back.
stuff. Recovery.
Sorry, that's the word I'm looking for. The recoveries. What Spurs need is, before the recoveries, is someone that's there to prevent that in the first place.
Interceptions, protection.
That to me, I'm not knocking Bergvall. For me,
it's a condom versus the morning after pill.
Superb analogy. Absolutely superb analogy, right? For me, if Bergvall and Gray are going to develop into really good central midfielders at Tottenham Hotspur, give them the leader to play with. And this all ties into next season. If we don't have European football, that becomes even harder to do, because you've now got 1 game a week and you've got Bergvall, Gray, Sarr as 3 youngish, 2 young, 1 is now not too young anymore, midfielders. You've still got Bentancur, Basuma there, right? At some point, Spurs have to make a decision. For me, what I would do in that midfield area is, in this summer, I would get rid of Bentancur and Basuma this summer. I would get rid of Bentancur and Basuma, and I would replace those 2 with 1 top holding midfielder, captain-like material that goes in there, and we go, right, whatever happens, that's our guy. Yeah, you can rotate Bergvall, you can rotate Gray, you can rotate Sarr. This is our guy. And listen, clip this, people will. I don't see us winning anything until we get that midfield area right. Because what we've seen in the last 2 years of teams running through us, you get away with it against Ipswich. You get away with it against this version of Man United. When Lazio are running at you, when Athletic Bilbao are going to be running at you, you're not getting away with it. They will not miss those chances. So that's, for me, the nucleus is there. I just don't know if he's got it tactically. I've
He doesn't
always
play with another.
I think that's the problem as well. I think it's the problem, Sav, is the fact that we can all see this as fans, that we need that kind of player. But Ange just keeps going on that he doesn't like to have that kind of. He wants all his midfielders to do kind of everything, really, and that is where the gripe is with fans, because we all can see any top team needs to have that kind of like holding midfielder, to a sense, right? An old school holding midfielder, right? Like Sean, someone who can spray the ball, has got great passing accuracy, who's energetic, who's a bit of a leader, someone who's aggressive, and someone who can control.
Definitely needs to be leader-esque as well.
Yeah, needs to be a leader, like someone who's aggressive and who can actually like control his midfield and tell the players where they need to be and where they don't need to be. Because we've got a lot of young kids as well.
And they sometimes John McGinn.
Yeah, that's what I said. John McGinn.
Like John McGinn. It doesn't have to be the greatest footballer in the world.
It doesn't.
I leader.
Like Stefan
Freund. John McGinn. I generally think someone like John McGinn.
Stefan Freund.
What? Where'd that come from?
That's funny, Alex.
I think we need a Stefan Freund type, but for me, the next.
Yeah. But do you know, like
that's brilliant.
Latios
would have been perfect.
Who?
Even someone back in the day, like a Tielemans on a free. I watched him again yesterday for Villa. Cool, calm, collected, always in the right place. Never looks flustered. Good on the ball. But it doesn't have to be Roy Keane. It doesn't have to be Rodri. Just
they should be scouting, because I think there are players out there.
Alex, this is the problem. Like the biggest, there is players out there, but the problem is whether or not Ange wants that type of midfielder, and that's where the fans have the issue. Is because we can see that we need that, right? All of us can see it.
Well, you know what Ange wants, though, Danny.
Yeah, I know, but he wants like a Gallagher type player who's just like an engine.
He wants that he can do midfielder, can do everything.
The problem is,
again, Edison from Atalanta. Right? Atalanta's season this year is nowhere near as good as it was last year.
Yeah,
is he going to want that payday? Edison from Atalanta, just because he can be the 8 if Ange needs to know that the player that's coming in is versatile, but he's also just a phenomenal 6. Quickly, guys, I've got Vueling Airways on my screen here. 500 quid, return flights, ability to cancel for flight credit, hugging around to Bilbao. Shall I pull the trigger on it? Are we getting there? Let's have a chat. One. If we get into the final, and therefore I should take the risk.
You should do a poll.
Don't waste your money, Sean. You over eager donut.
We're probably not going to get there. Let's be honest. We're probably not going to get there. They're probably not going to get there.
No, exactly. We go and lose 4-0 to Alkmaar in the first leg.
Sean, isn't Danny is spot on. For me, this is the worry. It's not that I don't think any Spurs fan is really too far apart on their opinion on that position in the midfield. The problem is we've seen 4 transfer windows where Ange has not made that he's not made that a priority. He's not in all. I think he signed 17 footballers. The only central midfielder he has signed, is Bergvall that plays there. Like we could say Gray, but he never plays there. Bergvall is the only central midfielder this man has signed in 4 transfer windows. So if we were serious about this, come the summer, the first signing into this football club would be, to use Sean's example, Edison. Now, if he did something like that, I'll let people in the chat argue which player they think. But if he did something like that, I'd turn around and go, that's better. You're looking to plug the gaps. But this guy plays with gaps on purpose. And no teams that play with gaps on purpose win things. I mean, you guys can tell me if I'm wrong. I don't know who teams that win things often, more often than not, are well drilled, not easy to run through. That's just my opinion.
Like Moyes West Ham, right, with the conference, especially in Europe. It like you know what? I'm not going to pull the trigger because you've just convinced me. If Tottenham get Lazio, in the semi-final and we go away from home and play open, like, not that I think Lazio's team is phenomenal by any stretch of the imagination, but just going away from home in Europe in the semi-final, you can't go to Italy and expect the boys to play expansive football. You have to be dogged and prepared and walk away with a
also Sean,
walk
they're
away
a
with a
good team.
0-0, a 1-1, whatever. Just walk away when you're still in the tie, but you could easily find yourself out of the tie. I don't think it will happen against Alkmaar, but it might happen against Frankfurt or Ajax, right? You need to get away from that first leg with yourself still in the tie, so you can take them back home and then do your business at home.
Yeah, you're right. And like, if you look at like what it's true, like this comment, it kind of sums it up. Liverpool, they elevated their team completely when they got those few signings. When they brought in Van Dijk, Alisson, and then Fabinho, that was it. They were unbelievable. And we need a kind of player like an Ederson who can just do that kind of job. And I think that's how I think the midfield is one of the most crucial parts of a team, because the rest of the team can help do a job in terms of getting results or winning stuff. But I think it's the most important. Look at I'll give you an example. Man City, right? When they lost Rodri, look how much they fell off a cliff, right? Rodri is their key to them playing the way they play. And this is what I mean by how important it is to have that kind of midfielder like that to kind of really make their team tick. It really makes a massive difference.
If you want to play all possession football, you have to have a Rodri, Fernandinho, Kante, Roy Keane. You have to have a player 100%. Like that in your team that not only is good on the ball, but is the beautiful thing about Rodri, and he's my favorite player in world football, by the way. We can talk about Mbappe's and Neymar's and whoever. He's my favorite player in world football because up there he is so much more intelligent than any other footballer on the pitch. He's always available for the ball. Always. You could have 3 players near him. He finds 10 yards of space.
He's good at everything. He's good at everything.
He knows where he's going to pass the ball next. He snuffs out danger. But I don't expect Spurs to sign a Rodri. I don't. But we've got to get somebody that does this as a specialized job. It can't be. Sorry, guys. It can't be Archie Gray. It can't be.
It could be a double pivot.
Can I ask you a question? Who's this? Does anyone know this player that we've got that option to buy this player? That Johnny. What's he like? I don't know. I don't know.
But Danny, I don't know about that, Danny. I think we're missing a trick, though. I think we could be doing it because Danny says he's banging on about it for so long now, and I actually agree with him. I think we should be doing the double pivot, trying to bet. That could be the way to forward.
4-2-3-1 kind of formation.
Yeah, we could do that. Because I think that's the way for me.
This manager won.
This is where I lose. This is where I lose it, though, Savva. Because the thing is, I don't feel we control games. We don't control games for me, right? So for me, that's where I can't get for this manager now, because I don't think we control games whatsoever in that midfield. And defensively look okay. Danzo is okay. He does.
Can I ask you a question, Alex?
Okay. Can
I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I think this, so I'll put my stance on this immediately. I think this. Do you think this? And I'll get Danny and Sean as well. I think our fans confuse a lot of meaningless possession for controlling games of football.
Yes, agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
I feel like at no point do we look in control of games. We always look like we are one pass away from conceding on a transition. What we do is we have so much of the ball. Like yesterday, they showed after like 45 minutes or something, the number of passes players had made in the match. And Danso and Gray were like 40 ahead of anyone else on the pitch, because it's Danso to Gray, Gray to Danso, Gray to Danso, Danso to Gray. And it's like, oh my God, stop the... Do you get what I mean, Alex? Is it that versus control?
Yeah, because I can see the point what people were making earlier about Bentancur coming into that number, down deep to make the back 3. But for me, Bentancur's doing his job, right? And for me, the best part of the play for me in yesterday's game was Gray putting the ball over the top for Son, right? And then Son, who had a good game, right?
Good first half.
Good first half, right? Faded away, and then got that chance for Johnson, right? And we don't do that. We don't do that. I see other teams doing that. I see Fulham doing it when they came to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I saw Aston Villa doing it. I've seen plenty of teams doing it.
Do you know what,
We don't
Alex?
do that. We just do
Just
short passes and thinking that's enough. And I don't think that's enough. And that's not
Do you know
good.
what it is, Alex? What I noticed the other day when I watched the Liverpool Aston Villa game, right? Well, I was watching them even towards the end of the game and throughout the game. A lot of times they were passing, moving, all the players, right? What you see at Tottenham is they just stand around and they just don't make movements. And we were in the stands yesterday, and you could see there were so many gaps, right?
You went to the game?
Yeah, I was at the game yesterday. Yeah.
How'd you get a ticket?
Through Ben. I was got a ticket through Ben.
What do you mean this is
But,
Danny the Bun Kiriakou, Sean? Don't question his methods.
He puts his hand out, and before he even has to sneeze, there's a ticket. Right? It's easy. Well, you're Danny, you say and you get.
I wish life was that easy, Sean. I really do.
Just quickly,
You're gonna get
Soul
tickets to
Sniper
Bilbao?
Gaming. What
I would,
noticing-
I would. I'd love to. But do you know, just to finish my point, Sav.
Yeah,
What I was saying, there was one point in the match, and it was in the second half, right? And there was like I think it was Bergvall, Sonny, I think it was Spence, and then there was someone else, right? And there was like they just kept passing around right towards the touchline, right? And toward the line, and they were just in one section, and you just saw this massive gap, and they were just passing it between each other, and everyone was screaming like effing move to the bloody space. Like none of the players were moving into the space to create the opportunity for a pass, right? To actually, and you could see it was so easy for us to even see. Like you could literally, it's like that horseshoe again, Sean. And like you could literally see the gaps there. If a player was intelligent enough or had the actual brain to just move into a position, one of those players could have passed them an open ball and cut through like 2 or 3 players in an instant. And the problem is that what we're seeing a lot of the times is that the Spurs, the players are not moving around enough. And the only time I started to see them moving yesterday was when we made those changes, when Son went off, when Bergvall went off, and when Tell went off. Then when we had the energy, they started moving again. And Odegaard,
do you know
was
when I
bringing
think
energy.
they move, Danny? I think the players move on the pitch more when Maddison's on the ball.
Yes, 100%.
When James Maddison gets on that football, you this is the thing. Everyone thinks I really love him, and I do. I think he's the best footballer at Tottenham. Hear me out, the best footballer, right? When James Maddison gets that ball, you watch the first thing he does. He knows where he's looked up, he's scanned, right? You watch. He's the only player that'll go right, left. He'll jink right, then jink left because he wants to find that space. He wants to make that pass, right? That's what he does. When he came on, right, you could see the players know Maddison will get them the ball.
Yeah.
None of the other players on that pitch, and I'll include them all. Sonny doesn't do that.
No,
That's not Sonny's game. Kulu holds on to the ball far too long. He's not that type of playmaker, right? Benson Cor's not that guy. Bergvall's not that guy, right? Sarr's not that guy. Maddison's the only one for me that when he gets the ball,
Bergvall moves.
Bergvall's really good at.
But he's too rash. He's too rash for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's raw. He's raw.
He's young. He's got ability.
I agree with all the other players you just mentioned there, Sav. I just think it's a bit harsh on Bergvall. I think Bergvall does do the things.
I'm not being harsh on Bergvall. I've seen Bergvall play about 7 games in a Spurs shirt. Like I'm talking about. We've got years of receipts that this is what James Maddison does.
Yeah, but James Maddison does all that when we have the ball. When we don't have the ball, he doesn't do enough.
Yeah, but he's a playmaker. I don't want him there. That's the fault in Ange's system.
That's the
playmakers.
Playmakers
like Maddison should not be judged on what is he doing when he doesn't have the football. That's where Spurs fans judge Maddison wrong.
Yeah.
Get Maddison the football.
So he's got no responsibilities to get back.
No, not none. But he does get back. He does. Maybe not as much as
too much.
But he's the playmaker, right? The difference is when Maddison gets that ball 30, 40 yards from goal, his first thought is, which player can I play in?
Yeah.
Who's moving? And
did you see yesterday, Sav? You see yesterday with the connection with Spence when he... Go on.
What you'll see with Maddison is he's pointing and telling players where to go. He is picking up the ball, rolling his foot on it and going, go there. Like he's saying, don't come to me. Go away. Make the run. He's the only one on our team that does that. Now, is he
And-
consistent?
And Spence, because yesterday I saw it again with Spence. When you looked at what Spence was doing, right, especially when Maddison came on, the amount of times he kept asking for the ball, like pointing where he wants the ball, and players like Bentancur and Bergvall at times weren't giving it to him when he was running into space. And what I see with Spence is he's always looking to move,
I know. I was talking about more of a creativity midfield
I know, but
perspective, right?
No, I get that.
When he's not on the pitch, we rely very much on overload counter-attacking. When Maddison is on the pitch, you've got somebody that's prodding, probing, looking for runners. And
I'd also make the argument, yesterday was perfect timing for him to come on against the team that has to come out. They're 3-1, 2-1 down at the time. They have to come out because they need 3 points, right? So, like, against the team that also...
Man U the week before.
Yeah,
he did it against Man U the week before from the start of the game.
Yeah.
He's always got the ball.
Hang on, but to me, Maddison, whether you like the system or not, the system doesn't support show ponies. It's asked to do different things because of the fact that you're asked, generally speaking, for the fullbacks to abdicate, to move forward, to leave these people at the back. You're asking more, and I agree that it's a problem with the system, but the system is the system generally, even though we're seeing a little versions of it, tweaks here and there. But because of the system being the system that it is, I don't disagree with anything you're saying about Maddison's value in what the player he is. I'm just saying that in this system, he is better suited for the player that he is to come off the bench when we're winning against teams that have a need to get forward and to sort of abdicate their own structure, because then you get him in more spaces. In games this season where it's super tight, he has gone missing at times, and I just think that I don't know. I'm not. That's not quite. But
the thing is, Sean,
I'm just saying that the system,
most creative player sitting on the bench.
Hang on, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that this system, because it's horses for courses, mate. It's like, do Chelsea or do Arsenal need? If Arsenal were to, let's use Arsenal as an example, the value of a top striker to Arsenal is £150 million. The value of a top striker to Liverpool is £60 million because they've already got 5 players that are brilliant at doing it. So there's horses for courses. There's needs must, right? And for me, James Maddison, whether or not he is a brilliant player at what you ascribe, and I don't disagree with any of the things that you're saying, I'm just saying within this system and the other things that other players are asked to do, having a player in there that does what he does so well, but also has a propensity to sort of slack off a little bit with his defensive responsibilities and to sometimes go missing in games. He's a flair player. He's a show pony type player. If you have at the same time a Sonny on the left, which I don't think should always be there by default, but the fact that he is, if you play Brennan Johnson on the right, then you have 3 men across your front 4 who are show pony type players who don't put in the shift and the graft off the ball. And therefore, if you're going to try and invoke a situation where the system is a press from the front, you're going to have problems because 3 of the 4 won't do it. And as much as I agree with you about Decky as well, I said it on my channel, I think the guy holds on to his ball, holds onto the ball far too long. He is someone that works hard. Dominic Solanke doesn't have the greatest output, but in terms of the input, same with, I see people slagging off Matisse Tell. Matisse Tell had a difficult game yesterday, but that guy, his work ethic, his ability, his press, his run, his drive from the front, it's a good fit for this system. Now, you can have a problem with the system, and I've got lots of problems with the system, but the system is what it is, and you have to find the right components to get the best out of the system. And I don't think that James Maddison has proven this season or last, for what it's worth, that he's a good fit for the system.
So our top goal contributor hasn't proven, but other players in the team have. This is my problem.
You're putting words in my mouth, mate.
He's our top. No.
Brennan Johnson's our top goal scorer. Do you wax lyrical about Brennan Johnson?
They're joint. They both got 9 Premier League
Brennan
goals.
Johnson's got 19 GA this season, hasn't he?
Premier League.
Am I wrong about that?
We're talking Premier League.
Why are we talking Premier League? We're talking about in this system for this club. Right, I'm just saying, Brennan Johnson. Do you or do you not agree that Brennan Johnson could do far more?
Yes.
Of course, he could do far more. Yeah.
So if your argument to dispel my last 2-minute rant is that James Maddison, what I've just said is a load of rubbish because James Maddison has scored goals or a top contribution, could you not make the same argument for Brennan Johnson? Of course you should if you're being consistent with your logic. But Brennan Johnson doesn't get the same protection.
There's a huge difference. Brennan Johnson, when not scoring tap-ins, and by the way, fair play to him, he gets in the right place. He's very good at that. Yeah. When not scoring tap-ins, it's like playing with 10 men. James
Yes,
Maddison
it was
is
like
the
that yesterday,
one player
Sav.
in the
I make
team.
the same, I don't make a massive difference in the argument with James Maddison.
But he's our chief creator. So when we're saying
And Brennan Johnson's our chief goal scorer. Like I don't know what like you hold the same energy. Hold the same energy.
No, Maddison's also at the same
hang on,
level.
I'm sorry. I don't get this at all. When I watch Brennan Johnson, I see him do nothing for 99% of any game.
I agree with you. I'm not sitting here saying that I'm not defending Johnson.
Let me finish the sentence, because otherwise it's just like I'm not getting there, right? I'm not saying that Maddison shouldn't do more or Johnson shouldn't. I hold the same energy for Kulu, who gets raved about, that gives the ball away more than all these players we're talking about. I hold the same energy for Son, Bentancur, Basuma, these people that seem to get away with it, right? Because they're not show ponies, so to speak. James Maddison's our top goal contributor in the Premier League this year, right? This is the man. When he doesn't play, we don't look like we can create anything.
I disagree. Disagree.
Okay, I don't know.
I know you're going to say based on what, but I've just told you why. I think that he, in this system, I don't disagree with you on what you're saying about the player. I agree with you about the player. I like James Maddison as a player. I'm just saying that this particular system, and we can poke holes in the system as much as you want, but this particular system does not support players that are very good in one or two things, but are inadequate in 8 others that this system requires. And this particular system asks different things of different areas of the pitch. And James Maddison does not do enough in the other areas to compensate. He is very good at contribution. He's very good at creation, but he's not good enough in the other areas of the game that are required. If you're asking of other things, of fullbacks and 6s and 8s and all this stuff, I'm just saying it's a horses for courses argument. And I think that
10 actually defends
to a more extreme example, Brennan
we must be the
Johnson's
only
similar.
club in world football. We must be the only club in world football that have a playmaker that scores and assists quite a lot every season, and we're saying he doesn't suit the system that we've got. Like I feel like
but Brennan Johnson is exactly the same, but you don't hold.
No, but Brennan Johnson's not a playmaker. There's a huge difference here. When Maddison plays,
he's a goal scorer, right?
Yeah.
When I asked you earlier, Savage, one second. When I asked you earlier, and you said, "Hang on a second, I don't want my playmakers to have to get back and do things." Do you hold that same energy then for Brennan Johnson?
Because Brennan Johnson is a wide player whose job is naturally to get back and double up with the fullback. As a playmaker.
And James Maddison in a system that doesn't have a defensive midfielder, where all midfielders are expected to do everything. That's okay?
Sure.
That's not okay?
Well, that's on the manager.
I'm not saying it's not okay.
Alex, that's a different conversation, though. But
I'm not saying it's not. But if you take out James Maddison, when James Maddison plays, he's the one player in that midfield that puts his foot on the ball, looks around, takes his time, gets it. And do you know what he does? He does what they call the wall pass in coaching. He's the only player in the Spurs team that does the wall pass. And what that means is when he gets that ball, he will look to give it to someone and then go and get it immediately off them straight away. Not give it to them and then run away. He gives and goes, right? You look at a lot of the Spurs players, they give it to someone and then they drop off. Maddison's the only one with that footballing IQ. He's the only one in that midfield with that footballing IQ to pick the pass, to prod, to create, to assist, right? And
I don't agree.
No, but you Paul Kirk
who else in our team does that?
Who else in the team is asked to do it? Like this is the point. This is the point I'm trying to make, is that you're holding James Maddison's skill set separate to what is asked of the players in this system.
Would you say that about Glenn Hoddle then?
Oh mate, I've just seen the same comment in the chat, Alex.
I'm just saying it's a good point though, isn't it?
It's not a good point. It's ridiculous.
It's a good point though, because
it's not a good point because you're missing my entire point.
We're going for workhorses over ability. That's what Andrew's done to this.
My entire point is not about the player. It's about the fit for the system.
The system, I get that.
Yeah, fair enough, but that shows you what the system's not working.
You know what? This is if you look at this actual stats, it kind of fits into what everyone is kind of saying in terms of how these two players fit into Andrew's system, right? If you look at Brennan Johnson's stats this season, right, he's got 9 Premier League goals, 3 in the Europa League, 1 in the League Cup, and 1 in the FA Cup. So he's got 14 goals all season and 3 assists. He's got 2 assists in the Prem, 1 in Europa League. So that's 17 goal and assist contributions.
He can't create,
right?
He's not.
I know he can't, but look at the difference when you look at Maddison now. Maddison's also got 17 goal and assist contributions, but Maddison, he's got 9 goals again in the Premier League, so same amount of goals as Johnson in the Premier League, right? He's got 1 goal in Europa League and no goals in any other competition. So he's got 10 goals all season, but he's got 7 assists, right? So
and those other competitions which are suddenly diminished in the comparison for the arguments, for the point of the argument, in the competition which we did the most in, we had to play Man City, Liverpool twice, and Manchester United to get where we got, and Coventry, right? But like, so we can't just undermine the value of the contributions in the cup competitions because they're not the Premier League. When
No,
we've
no,
actually played Premier League
trying to
opposition at
undermine
nearly
it.
every.
I'm just trying to give.
I'm not saying you are. I'm not
context.
saying you are. I'm just
No,
saying, like, generally speaking, you have to look into the detail, right? Like, and say, okay, the Carabao is cup, it's not league. Premier League's the hardest. But actually, our cup form this year has been against Premier League opposition in all but one game.
Foxy, this for me, I think, is where I come from. Maddison's always the scapegoat. It doesn't matter how shit the others play. Maddison seems to be the scapegoat in every single game from Ange Postecoglou. That's where I get frustrated. For me,
my only point, Savva, was that I think that Ange made a brilliant substitution, bringing him on against tired legs, and he played fantastic.
I'm not doubting that, but there were reports before the game that he was 50-50 to play, wasn't there? So, but my point is, when I watch a Spurs team without Maddison, I don't see a creator in chief. I don't see an architect
enough.
I don't see any of those players that go and get the ball, look at his footwork. He's a footballer. Many of the others are workhorses. And I get your point, Sean, that this is the system that Ange has adapted. But in those games in Europe, when you play the better teams, you're going to need your footballers. You're going to need your
100%.
players that put your
100%.
foot on the ball, make
100%.
it tick, give the ball, get the ball. And again,
I want to see. Listen, by the way, I feel like I've come across because I know that you're someone. Apparently, I didn't know this, but apparently, you're someone that gets a heat for defending James Maddison. I'm not attacking him in any way, shape, or form. I love James Maddison, and I'm not. And I haven't at any point in this debate here today advocated for him being anything other than a very valuable. The whole thing started with me just saying I thought that Ange Postecoglou did well by bringing him on.
No, he did.
At the right time.
I wasn't arguing against that.
I know. Yeah.
I wasn't arguing about that.
I love James Maddison. I want him to get more minutes. I think he's a valuable player. I just think that this system, you can make the argument that if you have, when you consider what else is baked around him, like, I don't think Sonny should play as much as he does, but he does.
I agree.
And if you have Sonny on the left and you have Brennan Johnson on the right, both of whom they might track back, but let's be honest, it's Sonny
Johnson was blowing steam after 12 minutes.
I've got a video that I bring up every single game of Johnson being a horse that's trotting on the spot.
He was like that all game yesterday.
Right, that's Brennan Johnson. So I agree. And Sonny, he might get back, but he doesn't want to get stuck in. When was the last time you saw Sonny put in a slide tackle?
No. The only reason why Sonny was good yesterday.
And if you have those two on the pitch, and you have Matisse Tell at the top end of the pitch, who isn't strong either, but but I do think he actually works hard, he presses well. And you have James Maddison, then you've got four men, three of whom, but largely all four, are not really workhorses. And therefore, if you're going to play a 10-man press off the ball,
doesn't work,
then you're going to struggle. And we've seen it. That's all I'm saying.
I get that.
That's
basically what you're saying is, Sean, is that the players are essentially they're not suited for a pressing system what Ange wants to play. Because
not all of them. You need to have
any of them suit this system, Danny. I genuinely don't think he's getting the best out of anyone.
I won't disagree with that at all. But you need to have at least two of your front four that are workhorses. And Decky at least offers that. I agree with the criticism of Decky as well.
I agree.
This is the argument, then, right? This is my argument. This is my argument,
and I'll meet you right there, bro. Because I don't think we disagree.
Everything we've just said here, right? We'll complain about energy, and we've got everyone's tired, right? Let's see after how many games now. Now we've had a week off, and now we're going to get into the schedule now, and it's going to get more hectic soon with the Europa League. We're going to get even more tired, aren't we? Because of what we've just said right now. You know what I mean? Because look at the energy now.
There's a little bit more opportunity to rotate now, hopefully.
But you know from what we've seen in the past with this manager, he don't rotate. He don't rotate because Diculo get rotated because he didn't have a good game yesterday, in my opinion.
And Pedro Porro. I mean, he's played more minutes. You know what everyone talks about? He's played more minutes than any other player in the top 5 leagues. More than that, I guarantee you, if you were to look at that sort of scatter graph of like you saw it recently. Sprints, right? And Tottenham were on their own fucking island, like Hawaii to America. Everyone else is here. Tottenham are up there. If you were to look at minutes played across the top 5 leagues, you're going to see Pedro Porro having played more minutes. If the y-axis is yards covered, because of the system and the requirement for the fullbacks to sprint up and back and up and back and up and back for 90 minutes. I guarantee you that not only has Pedro Porro played more minutes than everybody else, he has covered, I reckon, 2 times as many yards as the next nearest player. Because
then that goes down to management, doesn't it, Sean?
I agree.
This is the thing. Like this week, when we see, I mean, what Ange came out of the other day about Jed Spence just made me dislike him even more.
That was embarrassing. That was embarrassing.
I'm not surprised.
Right. So when people like, I see people like, there's someone called Jordan in my chat. He's always very friendly. He's a nice guy. Big up to you, Jordan. But when he keeps saying things like, well, the players are back to rotate now. Hang on. When the players were all fit, this manager weren't rotating shit. This manager never, ever wanted to play Spence. He didn't ever want to put Reggie in. He didn't want to put Gray in midfield. He didn't want to play these players. So we can't suddenly say, well, the players are back from injury now. Look, from my point of view, big up there, Bugsy. Big up, Bugsy. How are we doing? For me, my point has always been this, right? I don't think we've got a sustainable style of play, if you can call it that. I get what Sean's saying about the style and what the players need to do and the running. For me, I don't think that's sustainable. I don't think it matters who you are. I don't think it's sustainable. I think that what this manager can't do is look at individual players' skill sets and work out, how do I get the best out of X, Y, and Z at the same time? I think what he wants is a lot of young, fresh legs that can run around the pitch doing all this running. That's great. But we'll see when it comes to those big games, right? Let's see if those workhorses have got enough skill to outwit those really well-drilled Spanish and Italian defenses and midfield. That's going to be the difference. Yeah. So for me...
And I want Maddison on the pitch in that game away. If we get to Lazio, I want Maddison on the pitch in that game.
Of course.
Maddison needs to be number 10 because when he's deep, he struggles. Look at the thing at Leicester. Yes, he wasn't perfect at Leicester because they got relegated, but he had somebody defending for him because he had Ndidi. He had Tielemans in the centre midfield, and he was number 10. You see what I'm saying? He could even play he could even play on the left. You know what I mean? You know, for me, he could even play on the left, but this manager doesn't do it. You see what I'm saying?
Can we just reflect a little bit on those words from Ange about Jed Spence? Is that not a guy who has pretended all year? I don't make excuses, but by the way, here's 25 reasons why it's not my fault, right? And then you see him getting challenged of why is it that Jed Spence hasn't been a part of a Europa League team, and he has the audacity, like we're all bozos, to sit there and say, "Oh, it was all part of some grandmaster plan." You know, I wanted to give him a hard time. I made it difficult for him. To be fair. In reality, it's like, what are you doing here? You just didn't fancy the guy. You didn't like him. Now, we don't know what he's like behind the scenes, but to come out with that, just say, do you know what? He's proven everybody wrong. He's proven everybody wrong.
Why do you think I said this then? Why do you think I said this about Jed Spence when he's playing well? To spite Ange. Because he's sitting there saying, you've ignored me for 6 months. I don't really give a monkeys about you now. I'm going to do this to spite you. And since then, he's embarrassed him. He's absolutely embarrassed him. And I wouldn't be
first name on the team sheet now.
I wouldn't be surprised right now. In end of the season, a big offer comes in, and he's sitting there thinking, you know what, I want to go because as soon as I get a right back in, I'm out the team. Right,
Alex,
I'm out
if
the team.
continues like this rate that he's going, all the top clubs are going to want him because he's good defensively as well, and he's good on both sides. He's just as good on the left as he is on the right, and that's very rare to find in a fullback.
From a mile off what's going on right now.
Can we be honest here? What would have been wrong with Ange turning around? I would have given him more credit if he had turned around and said, "You know what?
100%.
Do you know what? Jed's proved me wrong. Do you know what? Jed's proved me wrong. Should I have given him more games at the beginning of the season? Yes, he's proved me wrong. He's come in, he's shut a lot of people up. But all of this, I wanted to test him, right?
That's rubbish.
Sorry, mate. Shouldn't you test all your players? At the end of the day, Ange got that wrong. There's nothing wrong. All managers make mistakes. Yeah. Own it, right? He thinks, like Sean said, he seems to think we're dumb. Like we're all going to sit there and go, oh, that makes sense now why Spence wasn't playing. And I want to see, guys, I don't know about you. And by the way, we're only going to go for another 5 minutes because I've got a show at 4:30 on Big Up. But I want to see when everyone is fit in the big games, which 2 fullbacks is he playing?
Yeah.
I bet you Spence is his scapegoat. I bet
he's not playing him.
I think right now he'd look the most dumbest manager on the planet if he drops Spence out of that team considering
Well,
what
he's lost
been
him then,
doing.
Danny. He's lost him. He's lost him. You
If
know
he
what I mean?
drops Spence out of that team, I want Ange sacked at the end of the
Because
season.
then he's
And I'll
looked
say
as
it
a
right now.
backup. He looks as a backup, and you know what I feel about
Honestly,
backups.
I'm gonna actually say this, and I haven't really been Ange out or Ange in, to be honest. But if he drops Spence, right, to then start playing Porro and Udogie again, I want him sacked at the end of the season. I want him absolutely out of this club. I don't want to ever see him again, because if he takes out our best performer in the second half of the season, right, just because of Porro is there and Udogie's back, it shows this guy is not capable of managing the Premier League. He just is not. You cannot take someone like Spence out after what he's gone and said as well. No way, no way. I think for me, what I want to see is Spence right back, Udogie left back. I think that for me is the best balance I've seen all season. And
I don't think that's going to happen.
If he was an intelligent manager, he should try Porro as a winger, as a right winger, because I think Porro not having to do that tracking back all the time and having the defensive job to do, he could just focus on what he's actually good at, which is his attacking ability and his crossing.
Danny, you saw what he did. You saw what he did against Liverpool, didn't you? I think it was against Liverpool. He played Porro at right back and played Spence at bloody winger. So this is what we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, so this is what I'm saying.
I want to buy players that play in their position. I'll be honest. I don't want to see Porro on the right wing. I don't want to see Romero in a number 6. I want to see if you need a player to play in a position, go and buy said player. Like I be a big club. If you've got fullbacks and they're all 3 of them are fit, sorry, didums. One of them doesn't play. That's life. I don't want it to be, because he moves out of right back because Spence is playing better, that we push him to right wing. I just want to see us be a proper football club. That's all. That's all I want to see.
Have 2 options that are chomping at the bit and that form dictates or situation. Like, it's okay. Some games you go, I think Pedro Porro is not the right guy for this one. I think Joe Spence is a better fit because you're up against a certain defender and yada yada yada. But like, it's okay to sit there and have aspirations to want not just 3 good fullbacks, but 4. Who's our 4th fullback, by the way? Who is the 4th? We haven't got one, have we?
That'd be Reggie, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Right. And he's out the door in the summer anyway.
Or Dave, I suppose Davis. If we're going to be brutally honest, when all the centre backs are fit, it would be Ben Davis. By the way, sorry. Regards Daniel Coys. Dude, first and foremost, let me give you a little lesson in how YouTube figures work. Trust me, if I said a lot nicer things about Ange, I'd have a lot more viewers and subscribers than I have. Yeah, it's the fact
my views are down 60% since I went Ange out.
Right. So please don't come on here. Right? Don't come on here and say to me that my viewers would be affected if I said something nice. Listen, I've said if Ange proves me wrong end of the season and wins that Europa League, I'm sitting here going, sorry, Ange. At the moment, though, regards Daniel Coys, we're sitting 12th in the table and knocked out of both cups. Right now,
it's a great name.
Right now, mate. Right now, he's proved me right in everything I said about him. We're 12th and out of both cups. So right now, what is it that you think? What is it that you think I've said that is not balanced? I don't get it. We're 12th in the Premier League. Am I meant to? You want me to praise that we're 12th in the Premier League? Sorry, no, not having it. Not having it at all. Sorry, guys. I just
that sort of response, mate. That sort of response is why I think you are the master of YouTube content, because it's that sort of response that will inevitably invoke people coming back in when we lose. If we win the Europa League and you're not in Bilbao, if you're doing a live stream,
you are going to get.
You will have 5,000 people concurrent watchers. 4,500 going.
But this is what we revel in. We love this. This is what we want. This is what we want, because if we win, it's great. It's great because we've been proved wrong, isn't it? You know what I mean? This is what we love. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Prove me wrong.
This is what we deal with. We don't care.
Prove me wrong.
Prove me wrong. That's the thing. But not the thing is, that's why I don't do that much, because I've been proved right for most of the things I've been saying. You know what I mean? It's not like and I'm saying the same things now, so it's not like I'm saying anything. That's why I can't go on Spurs Review, because I don't want to ruin it for Savva, because I've been saying the same thing, Savva, haven't I? You know what I mean, mate? You know?
Well, mate, listen, look, at the end of the day,
that's not the reason.
Can I just say this about YouTubers? We are just normal football fans, right? We are normal football fans with an opinion, right? So that Daniel, whatever his name was, We're normal football fans with an opinion. The difference is we switch the camera on at the front of our screen and talk about it. It's easy for people like you, mate, in the chat, right? It's easy for people like you in the chat because we won't remember every single one of your opinions because you're one of 5, 6, 7, 8, 900, however many at any time. Everyone knows my opinion. So I've put my neck on the line. This is my opinion. You know what? Spurs win the Europa League. Isn't that what I want as a football fan of Spurs? Like,
No,
it's
Sav, you
win,
don't want
win.
it. No, you don't want
Actually,
it.
that's actually an interesting segue there, mate. If you don't mind me maybe pivoting it or positing a question to you. So I called out, and I think rightly so, the channels that were bringing up, you know, when everyone that was a moderate fan pivoted towards Levy out around January time, and then you had the more hardcore Levy outers that wanted to differentiate themselves, and then you heard people coming up with, you know, suggestions, situations of like, winning the Carabao Cup is now problematic for our cause. Relegation is the best thing that could happen for the Levy out movement, and there's a lot of support behind it. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And I still stand by that. I still think it's absolute lunacy, but to each their own, right? Whatever, it is what it is. I don't care. But with regards to Ange, this harks back to the notion that I said about an hour ago, mate, which is like winning the Europa League in an otherwise miserable season. Danny said, and I'm fine with his answer, and I think a lot of people in the chat said that they agree, that actually that is all that matters, and this will be a memorable season, and you'll remember the trip, you'll remember the night, you'll remember the day, you'll forget about the individual abject performances against Palace, Ipswich, you know, Brighton second half, yada, 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 right? To me, I stand true to the vision that I remember the Champions League final season. We were shocking that season in the Premier League.
But Sean,
we
you're
were
still going to
absolutely
remember that. You'll still remember, like, just to interrupt, sorry. You'll still remember, like, it was a terrible season because that kind of makes it even more part of the memory, right? Like, the season was so bad, yet we went and win a European trophy.
And that's fine. I get it, right? And I completely understand that the point of elite football is to win trophies. I get it. I've always just said that it's not you that gets to lift the trophy. You're not a winner, not you specifically, Danny, but you're a winner in life anyway. But like, you're not a winner because you get to lift the trophy. And people that attach themselves to, like, if you don't demand more from things outside of your own control, then you're a loser. But if you do, that makes you a winner's mindset. I have a fundamental issue with people that say that sort of stuff because, you know, hold yourself to the same energy that you hold your football club to, right? Let's see what you're doing in your own life before you start pointing fingers. But with regards to the Europa League potential win, to go back to that notion of like, is winning a trophy bad for our movement? I'm not saying that the Ange out thing is a movement like the Levy out thing is, but if all of us on this panel, I think, can agree, maybe, I'm not sure if Danny is as strongly minded about this as Savva and Alex are, but I definitely know Alex and Savva, you feel that this manager isn't good enough. I'm also somewhat, I don't think he is good enough at this level. I'll be entirely honest. I don't think he is. And I don't like the double speak that comes out of his mouth. And I pay attention to what people say. And when the winds move direction, you find a wiggle room to get out of it and make it somehow part of a grand plan. But if he does win the league, the Europa League, then you absolutely have to give him next season. But do any of you see that as problematic in as much as you know that next season's going to have similar sorts of stories about like this season has, right? Where you're not going to do that well in the league because you're not going to be able to beat people that are clever. You're not going to be able to beat the tactical, diverse managers that know how to set up and have studied you, but you're not going to study them because you're more worried about your message and your tactic. To me, I'm like, is winning a Europa League, I'm not going to say problematic for the cause because I don't have a cause, but like, winning the league does mean that he will be here next season, and that will mean then that we get players that probably are not clear-cut fits for a specific type of manager. And I worry whether or not the Europa League could be a blessing and a curse, if that makes sense.
I agree with you to a point because this is why I say he'd be the best manager. If he wins Europa League, he's the best manager since the last 2 decades. Fact. That's fact.
Not the best manager, the most successful manager.
The way you put it, Savva, the way you put it, you corrected me. Thank you, Savva. Don't get used to it though. And the point is though, the point is though, right? It's that, but we got to. This is why I say this is important. We need to have a conversation. Because I'm sorry, this season no one's improved, and the coach thing is a big thing for me. Massive
we do, Alex. we do need a conversation, but I do need to end the show.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Really need to end the show badly. Oh, Sean's jumped. One of the things I'm going to be talking about tonight, and I was going to ask Sean if he wanted to come on tonight. He doesn't have to, but one of the things I want to talk about tonight is this: a different angle on the Spurs review tonight at 7:30. And I am going to end the show now. But if Spurs do win the European Cup, all the talk is about Ange. What would that mean for Daniel Levy's legacy? And all the Daniel Levy out. That is what we're going to talk about tonight, because suddenly, if we're going to say that makes Ange the best manager for 20, 30 years, whatever, 40 years since.
Yeah, it makes us our makes him our best chairman.
So Sean,
probably.
Sean, WhatsApp me if you want to.
Right,
you're
most
more than
successful
welcome
chairman.
tonight, mate.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
guys and girls, I'll leave it there. As I said, at 10 past
Oh, what a
4.
cliffhanger! What a cliffhanger!
Right. At 10 past 4, I will be going live for 5 minutes to see who wants to come over and join me on Big Up for the Man City Liverpool watch along. The reason being is the Big Up owners are doing a prize draw from this weekend for anybody who is a community member, which is free. So a community member to me is the chance of winning $500. So I'm going to come here at 10 past 4.
Pays for your Balboa flight tickets, boys and girls. It
Right?
pays for your Balboa flight tickets.
So I'm going to come here at 10 past 4, bring you all over with me if you want to Big Up, watch the show, become a community member. It does wonders for me. Of course, it works both ways. And you guys could possibly win $500. Plus, we'll be back tonight at 7:30. Sean, if you can make it, that would be amazing, because I like your different stance to the Levy piece. But we'll be back later on tonight for the Spurs review, where we'll be saying, will Daniel Levy be the greatest chairman for 40 years if Spurs win the Europa League?
The most successful.
Take care, everyone. Oh, Mario, brother. So sorry, mate. Much love as always. I said Pep turning his season around with the long ball. Ange doing the same. Endure attack and hit them on the counter. Mate, listen, you got to do what you got to do. You got to make things work. Big up to you, Mario. You've always been very generous. Love you all. What I am going to say is I'm going to put this link in the chat. If anybody wouldn't mind, just show me a bit of love. I've just put a video out about Eddie Howe on my second channel. If everyone would be so kind, please get over there. Just show it a bit of love. Even if you watch it for 3-4 minutes, smash that like button. Help the algorithm. Thanks, Sean. Thanks, Danny. Thanks, Alex.
Pleasure.
Thanks, James Madison, for all your playmaking. Take care, everyone. See you later. And as always, come on, you Spurs.